Chapter 601, Do You Have a Boyfriend? Inside Blackie's mental world. GRRR, I'm sorry. As a sign of my apology, I will give you this. Guys, you take yours out too. Yes. The Blackie family was apologizing to the souls within the world's energy. The number of souls was roughly 1 million. Due to their resentment, their eyes were blood red. And then, munch, munch. The million souls were happily eating the yellow food that the Blackie family had given them. It was the Blackie family's soul food, roasted and dried sweet potato slices. It wasn't just called soul food for nothing. The dried sweet potato provided greater comfort to the souls than the Blackie family's apology itself. One piece of Sejun's dried sweet potato was so full of spiritual energy that it could be shared among thousands of souls. And thanks to all the dried sweet potatoes they had diligently eaten over time, the Blackie family was able to give one piece to each of the million souls. The fact that they were giving out the dried sweet potatoes made by Sejun was proof enough of their sincerity in apologizing, but the Blackie family didn't stop there. We are truly sorry for harming you. We are sorry. They bowed their heads to each soul, offering a heartfelt apology. Of course, there were moments when they wondered if they really needed to go this far. I want to stay with my butler for a long time. But the moment they thought of Sejun, those doubts vanished completely. The Blackie family continued to sincerely apologize to the souls, and, I forgive you. I'll forgive you. One by one, the souls began to forgive the Blackie family. SRRRKK. At the same time, a red energy seeped out from the souls who had forgiven the Blackie family, and their eyes returned to their original color. The souls who had forgiven them then returned to the world's energy. Before they knew it, the number of souls who had forgiven the Blackie family had exceeded 10,000. Sejun's suggested daily quota was 100 souls. However, after the first apology, the thought of limiting themselves to just 100 souls per day had long disappeared from the Blackie family's minds. And so, when the number of forgiven souls surpassed 100,000, GRRR glee. The red energy that had seeped out from the souls gathered in midair, forming a grotesque shape. At the same time, within the mass of dark red energy mucus, eyes, nose, and mouth weren't in their proper places. They continuously moved independently, staring at the Blackie family in turn. Kukuku, if you are so sorry, you shouldn't have done anything to be sorry for in the first place. A presence that flicked its tongue mockingly. Judging by the way it licked its tongue every time it spoke, it was a snake. SLLRRP. The snake, lacking strength, struggled to maintain its form, constantly collapsing. Its taunts, weak as they were, should have been immediately erased by the Blackie family. But the Blackie family couldn't say a word. Their bodies froze like ice as they stared at the snake. They weren't overwhelmed by the weak snake before them, but rather by the immense power of its true form beyond it. They had never seen a being with such enormous power before. WHORU. Blackie desperately forced the words out. Kukuku. I am the one born with the beginning, the one who envies and hates, the one who whispers doubt into all things, the one who sows distrust, the one who awakens hidden natures, the one who leads to downfall. I am corruption. Corruption answered in a sticky, wet voice. Kukuku, do you really think this will absolve you of all your sins? You sure your master has truly accepted you as family? Maybe he's just using you and plans to throw you away later. It's obvious he's trying to bind you under the pretense of family. Corruption whispered in a sinister and ominous voice, attempting to plant seeds of doubt in the Blackie family's hearts. Butler would never do that. That's right, Sejun Nim would never do such a thing. Don't slander Sejun Nim. The Blackie family shouted back, denying and rejecting the voice. However, the whispers did not cease and continued to creep into their minds. Fearful of corruption's whispers, the Blackie family instinctively began to step back. And then, Blackie suddenly realized that he had been pushed to the very edge of his mental world. There was nowhere left to run. At that moment, FYet, like the sky opening up and the clouds parting, a dazzling golden light began to shine upon the Blackie family, gradually expanding its reach. Urg! Corruption recoiled, retreating to avoid the golden light. However, before long, the entire mental world of Blackie was bathed in the golden glow. Cuckoo, what a shame. If only I had a little more time. Touched by the golden light, corruption turned into black ash and vanished. Dawn on the 99th floor of the Black Tower. It was a time when everyone was asleep, except for Peacebees. Kaying. Blackie. Sejun woke up at the sound of Blackie whimpering. Is he having a nightmare? Gently stroking Blackie's belly, he tried to soothe him. At that moment, flap. Pip, Sejun Nim, why are you awake? Peacebees, who had been playing outside alone, heard Sejun's voice and flew over. Blackie seems to be having a nightmare, he keeps whimpering. Sejun continued to stroke Blackie's belly as he spoke. Pip, Sejun Nim, I'll help too. Raka, by my dear little brother. Peacebees quietly approached and started singing next to Blackie, helping the Blackie family sleep peacefully. A little while later, Kaying. The sound of Blackie's whimpering gradually faded, and then, Kirorong. Imrorong. Kurorong. The Blackie family snored soundly in deep sleep. And then, Kuwar. Still stroking Blackie, Sejun also dozed off, snoring while sitting. Pip, if you sleep like that, your neck will hurt in the morning. Watching this with concern, Peacebees carefully laid Sejun down on the bed. Peacebees' healing technique. Squish. Imitating Theo's healing technique, Peacebees started kneading Sejun's face. Why he was massaging the face when the problem would be the neck, only Theo himself could understand. The next morning. All right then, I'll leave things to you, Master Bo. Pipayak. Sejun Nim, leave it to me. After greeting Bachai, Sejun and his group prepared to descend the tower. Originally, only Theo was supposed to go down. However, Hut, Chairman Park, should I bring Gorina back in 3 hours? Meow. For Theo, who hated being away from Sejun for long, the absolute maximum he could endure was about an hour. No, you need to stay at least a week before coming back. Meow, that's too long, meow. That's way too long, meow. Then Chairman Park should come too, meow. All right, let's go together. To buy some time, Sejun decided to accompany him. While they were at it, he also planned to look for a proper bride candidate for Master Bo, one with luxuriant black fur. Introducing Gorina to Master Bo felt so morally wrong that even Sejun, whose conscience wasn't exactly pristine, couldn't go through with it. If I take Gorina to him, I might get excommunicated by Master Bo. Thus, Sejun set off to find a suitable bride candidate for Bachai. Meanwhile, Pipayak. Sejun number 3 Nim, you need to swing like this. Bachai was passionately teaching swordsmanship to Sejun number 3. Hut, am I finally going to escape being single? Bachai daydreamed about the bride Sejun would bring back for him. Earth. All right, Christmas should be completely over by now, right? As he exited the Black Tower, Kyung Chul grinned. Single Kyung Chul had deliberately stayed in the tower for 3 extra days to avoid the Christmas atmosphere. Of course, Christmas had somewhat infiltrated the Black Tower, leading to a few troublesome incidents. However, it was actually good because time passed quickly while he was busy moving his body. As Kyung Chul walked through the streets of Gangnam after leaving the tower. However, the street wasn't the atmosphere Kyung Chul had expected. No, it wasn't the world Kyung Chul knew. 25% discount sale in celebration of Santa's birth. For those who didn't receive a gift from Santa Sejun today only, buy one get one free. Earth was in full celebration, rejoicing over the birth of Santa. At that moment, BZZZ. Kyung Chul's smartphone vibrated in his pocket. It was Kyung Chul's smartphone. It was a gift from Santa Sejun. Hello. as Kyung-chul answered the call. "Hello, I'm the owner of this phone. Would it be possible for me to pick it up now? I'm near Gangnam Station." A woman's voice came from the other end. "Oh, I'm near Gangnam Station too. Let's meet at exit 10. Sniff Sejun, thank you." Grateful to Sejun, Kyung-chul hurriedly ran toward Gangnam Station. "You have arrived at the 75th floor of the Black Tower. Let's check out the shopping district first." "Pyu Hut sounds good, meow." "Kyung, Kaying." Sejun and his companions decided to look for Bachai's bride candidate by setting up at the shopping street, where there was the most foot traffic. "Oh, this is delicious." "Kyung. Dad, this one is tasty too." "At a famous restaurant." "Chairman Park, is my grilled fish ready yet, meow?" "Almost done." Sejun had asked for permission from the shop owner and was grilling Theo's fish over a small brazier nearby. "Kilahit Kaying. Hee butler, I want dried sweet potato." "All right." Blackie claimed that a lot of dried sweet potatoes were necessary to properly apologize to the souls. An odd argument, but his body is still weak, so I should let him eat plenty. Since he had seen Blackie whimpering in his sleep at dawn, Sejun grabbed 2 handfuls of dried sweet potatoes and gave them to him. Chomp chomp chomp. After the Blackie family eagerly munched on the dried sweet potatoes. Kaying. "Butler, I'm going to apologize now, so rub my belly. Keep watching me, got it?" "Got it." Still feeling anxious, Blackie checked multiple times with Sejun before finally taking out the piece of the world's energy he had been holding onto since yesterday, putting it in his mouth. "Kirorong," and fell asleep. As Sejun stroked Blackie's belly, he gazed out the window. At that moment, a black marmot with sleek black fur passed by. "That's some luxurious black fur." Sejun quickly picked up Blackie and rushed outside. "And, excuse me, do you have a boyfriend?" he asked the black marmot. "HMPH, as if, Mamori doesn't have a boyfriend but you're not Mamori's type." The black marmot, Mamori, scoffed as if disgusted that someone like him even dared to speak to her. As the daughter of the Black Marmot tribe's chieftain and the boss of the 96th floor, her pride was sky-high. "Well, you're not my type either." Sejun felt a surge of irritation, but held back for Bachai's sake. "No, not for me. I'd like to introduce you to someone else." "HMPH, Mamori doesn't want a boyfriend weaker than Mamori." "No worries. The one I want to introduce you to is incredibly strong. Our Bachai is a grand swordmaster." "Fine, lead the way." "All right." Sejun took Mamori up to the 99th floor of the tower. "And, Bachai, this is Mamori." As Sejun introduced Mamori to Bachai, Bachai's heart pounded wildly. "Mamori only acknowledges men stronger than her. Let's see if you have what it takes to be Mamori's boyfriend. Bring it on." Pipayak. Bachai, eager to become the perfect boyfriend, went all out. Thwag, and beat Mamori mercilessly. "Bachai, what the hell are you doing?" Sejun was horrified by the sight. A moment later, Mamori lost. Mamori dusted herself off as she stood up. Surprisingly, she didn't seem too shaken by the defeat. "Does this mean they're a couple?" Sejun looked at Bach and Mamori with hopeful eyes. But then, Mamori has realized something. Mamori's boyfriend needs to be strong and handsome. Mamori had just discovered her new standards for a boyfriend. But this guy. She glanced at Bachai and shook her head. Mamori, if you look closely at our Bachai." Sejun tried to step in for Bachai's sake, but no means no. Mamori firmly shook her head and left the 99th floor. Turns out him being single for 300 years wasn't just a coincidence. Chapter 602, Should I Have Done It? 99th floor of the Black Tower. Bachai, who had been sitting on the floor with a miserable expression, brushed off his rear and stood up. And then, Kayuk. Sejun Nim, to be honest, Mamori wasn't really my type either. He tried to act like he was fine while speaking to Sejun, 3 hours after Momori left. 3 hours after Momori had left. Master Bo, that's way too late. Sejun, seeing Bachai looking as if he was about to burst into tears at any moment, placed him on his palm, patted his head and comforted him. Bachai now consoled by Sejun. Keikayuk Keikayuk. In times like these, it's all about training. Sejun no 3, let's train together. He grabbed his sword and began training with Sejun no 3, who had been tirelessly swinging his sword for a while now. A little while later. Keikayuk. Sejun Nim, I've attained enlightenment. Bachai moved his sword without even touching it. It was mind sword technique. Bachai, the hero of Hamk, the one who wields a single sword. He had reached a new level. Master Bo, congratulations. To think he could melt even the sorrow of heartbreak into swordsmanship. Does he get stronger the more he gets rejected? Sejun couldn't shake the feeling that Bachai had reached his current level thanks to his heartbreak. Just then, the dragon fruit with the ambiguous dragon park Sejun's energy has gained a great enlightenment while using beginner magic swordsmanship. The dragon fruit with the ambiguous dragon park Sejun's energy's enlightenment is transmitted to Black Tower's Tower Farmer Park Sejun. The level of the beginner magic swordsmanship skill has increased by 3. Beginner magic swordsmanship has reached LV 9. A message appeared before Sejun. Sejun no 3, standing beside him, also seemed to have been influenced by Master Bo, as his beginner magic swordsmanship skill level had increased by 5 as well. Letter 24D Alpha, Eng letter 1ED1, letter FF42, EHACHEK letter 23F. Heh, just a few more of Master Bo's heartbreaks, and my swordsmanship skill will shoot up in no time. Sejun grinned mischievously and began plotting ways to get Bachai rejected again. Meow. Chairman Park's face is getting ugly really fast, meow. Of course, Theo immediately gave him an intense needing therapy session. Let's eat dinner now. Puhu Hut sounds good, meow. Kyung. Kaying. The group cheered at the mention of a meal. Sejun headed to the cooking area with his companions to prepare dinner. Master Bo, what would you like to eat? To celebrate Bachai's advancement, Sejun asked what he wanted to eat. Keikayuk Keikayuk. Roasted peanuts, and maybe 2 roasted walnuts as well. Got it. In addition to the peanuts and walnuts Bachai requested, Sejun also added pine nuts and prepared some strawberries and green grapes as fruit, placing them in front of Bachai. And then, Kyungi, isn't it delicious? Kyueha Kyung. Haha, it's delicious. Sejun and Kyungi made honey garitiaks for the first time in a while and enjoyed them together. Theo and the Blackie family had their usual meal of grilled fish and roasted and dried sweet potatoes, so the only one eating the same thing as Sejun was Kyungi. After they all finished their delicious dinner. I'm so full I ate too much. As Sejun patted his bloated belly and lay down on the bench. Puhu Hut. Kyueha. Kivihit. Theo, Kyungi, and Blackie climbed onto Sejun's body, each claiming their own spot. Keikayuk. I'm heading back to train. Master Bo, saying he needed to solidify his enlightenment, returned to training with Sejun no 3. Wow, the sky looks amazing. Sejun admired the sky as it darkened into the night. Though he saw it every day, the sky always had a different look, occasionally offering breathtaking moments. As the night deepened, and the sky was completely engulfed in darkness. 1, 2. Sejun began counting the number of stars he had placed in the sky. 19. A total of 19 stars were shining in the sky, combining the 12 zodiac stars and the 7 stars Sejun had placed later. Each star possessed unique powers such as ice cube, piercing, blind, and darkness. I wonder if I can use Starlink now. Sejun suddenly thought about his power Starlink while looking at the stars. Last time he had passed out due to insufficient mental strength, but now his mental strength had grown nearly tenfold compared to then. Well, if I fail, I'll just pass out again. Sejun had never been in danger of dying before, So this time, there was nothing to be afraid of. Determined to use his power, Sejun spoke. Starlink. He attempted to connect with a star that drew his attention. Power. Starlink connects with Delicious. And then, Sejun Nim hello. Along with Delicious's voice, vast visual information began pouring into Sejun's mind. Sejun quietly analyzed the information flooding his mind. And then, tab. He lightly touched the end part of the dried sweet potato that Blackie had left while eating. Somehow, he had a conviction that touching that spot would make it more delicious. As soon as Sejun placed his hand on the dried sweet potato. Kaying. Butler, that's the great Blackie's. I was saving it for later. Blackie, who had been sprawled on Sejun's chest, suddenly sprang up and bit into the dried sweet potato Sejun had touched. And then, Kaying. Why does it taste so good? Blackie was baffled. Of course, it had been delicious before, but now it was even more delicious. Kaying. Butler, what did you do? When the excited Blackie barked while looking at Sejun. Kurr. Only to find that Sejun had already fainted. Connecting to a star and using its power were entirely different matters. Meow, Chairman Park, when did you fall asleep? Meow. Kyungi, let's move him together. Meow. Kyung. Theo lifted Sejun by his back, while Kyungi hoisted his legs onto his head, and together they carried him away. Meanwhile, Kivihit. Chomp. Blackie, perched atop Sejun's chest as they moved, happily munched on the now even more delicious dried sweet potato. A little while later. Kurr. Gorarong. Keikirarong. The quiet bedroom was soon filled with the sounds of Sejun, Theo, and the Blackie family snoring. Keikayok. No, Sejun, no 3 Nim, you need to twist it a bit more here. Meanwhile, Bach and Sejun no 3 burned the midnight oil, continuing their swordsmanship training. Inside Blackie's mental world. I'm sorry. We're sorry. As always, the Blackie family was diligently apologizing to the souls. Thanks to their continuous efforts, about 100,000 souls had now forgiven them. Gyuraruk. A red energy seeped out from the souls and began coalescing, manifesting another corruption. But this time, the Blackie family had already prepared a strategy to deal with it. Go Mukpupil. Yes. At Blackie's command, Mukpupil quickly exited the mental world. 8 Shadow Ink clones. Pulu. Using his power, he created clones. Then, Kurr. Mukpupil propped up Sejun's sleeping body and pried his eyes open, directing his gaze toward Blackie. And in that moment, Payat. A golden light began to shine down into Blackie's mental world. That was it. Corruption could only be destroyed when it was within Sejun's line of sight. The reason? It was due to Sejun's title, one who glimpsed long into the beginning. The primordial power contained within the title obliterated the will of corruption. As the will of corruption vanished, Mukpupil gently laid Sejun back down and returned to Blackie's mental world. MMM. Sejun turned over and comfortably fell back into a deep sleep. The next day. You guys wait here for a bit. After stopping by the 10th tower to pick up the Destruction Devourer seed, Sejun stood before the dimensional gate and spoke. If Destruction Theo were to be born again like last time, it would only reduce the number of workers. Got it, Meow. We'll follow in 10 seconds, Meow. All right. As Sejun entered Earthworm first. Slosh. 6 drops of destruction began transforming into Sejun's appearance. Welcome, everyone. While Sejun distributed Destruction Devourer seeds to the workers. Puhu Hut, Chairman Park, I missed you, Meow. Kyung. Kaying. Theo, Kyungi, and the Blackie family rushed through the dimensional gate and ran toward Sejun. HUD 2 are missing. Sejun looked around and commented. The number of workers had decreased from 12 to 10. Kaya. The Destruction Devourers explained to Sejun why 2 of them were missing. So all of a sudden, Sejun No 2 and No 4 turned into blue droplets of water. What the heck? As Sejun frowned in confusion. Kaya Kaya. One of the destruction devourers extended a leaf, revealing two transparent droplets of liquid, tear of the incomplete creator god. Why did purifying tears of destruction result in something like this? Blackie, what's the connection between destruction and the creator god? Kaying. The great Blackie is super busy these days. He has no time to play with you. While pushing away the destruction devourers that were clamoring for attention, Blackie responded to Sejun's question. Then, Kaying. Of course, Destruction Nim was originally supposed to be the next creator god. Blackie answered as if it was the most obvious thing in the world. What? How was I supposed to know that? Even the dragons don't know that. Feeling unjustly belittled, Sejun immediately decided to discipline Blackie. Boo-boo-boo-bup. Kiva hit. Of course, the discipline turned out to be nothing more than blowing raspberries on Blackie's belly. Hoo-hoo, that was satisfying. Since his anger had subsided, it still counted as discipline. Pew-hoo-hud. Q-he-ha. Next, he blew raspberries on Theo and Kyungi, both of whom had already presented their bellies in anticipation. Then, before he knew it, 5 destruction Sejuns had approached and were lying on their backs, exposing their bellies as well. It seemed their aggression had lessened quite a bit after being somewhat purified. Hey, not you guys, absolutely not. As Sejun recoiled in horror, the 5 destruction Sejuns drooped in disappointment and went back to planting seeds. After chasing away the destruction Sejun. So you're saying the next creator god is destruction? Sejun turned back to Blackie for clarification. Kaying. Yep. How did that happen? Kaying. I don't really know. One day, his personality started becoming a bit twisted, so we stopped playing with him. Then suddenly, he fell into corruption and became destruction. Yo. But I was right there when Destruction Nim became corrupted. I think the corruption we saw might have been what corrupted Destruction Nim. The youngest of the Blackie family, Kabolto, cautiously shared his thoughts. Corruption. Kaying. Yes, when we were apologizing to the souls. Blackie then explained to Sejun about the corruption they had witnessed. So I have to just watch. So my title had this kind of effect too. Kaying. Yep. All right, from now on, I'll keep an eye on it whenever Blackie is apologizing. As their conversation wrapped up. Kaying. Hey, the great Blackie was about to explain corruption to Butler and you interrupted. Didn't I tell you not to be rash? Kabolto, who had stolen Blackie's moment, got thoroughly scolded by him. While Blackie was busy reprimanding Kabolto, Sejun examined the tear of the incomplete creator god. Tear of the incomplete creator god. A single tear shed by an incomplete creator god in sorrow contains a powerful energy of creation. Upon consumption, grants 20 million experience points and increases all stats by 50. Oh, not bad. Tears of Destruction really was a gift that kept on giving. I thought it was 3 birds with 1 stone, but it's 4 birds with 1 stone. Something this good should be consumed immediately. Sejun was about to swallow the tear when, title, one who glimpsed long into the beginning partially understands the essence of the tear of the incomplete creator god. A faint golden light flickered in Sejun's eyes, and an additional line of explanation appeared for the tear. Can be used to create 5 drops of the great growth elixir. So tears of the creator god are an ingredient for the great growth elixir. Now that he knew this, Sejun decided to save the tear for when he met Emila, the first apostle of the creator god, who could make the great growth elixir. With that settled, Sejun continued his work, and soon the 5 destruction Sejuns who had earlier exposed their bellies also transformed into droplets of water. Should I have done it? For a brief moment, Sejun felt a pang of sympathy. But then, when he imagined himself actually blowing raspberries on his own clones' bellies. No way. Get a grip, Park Sejun. Shuddering, Sejun shook his head vigorously. As evening arrived, Kayuk, Sejun Nim, I can now wield 2 swords at once. Bacha had ascended to yet another level. At this point, it was undeniable. 80% of Bacha's swordsmanship progress was fueled by heartbreak. Chapter 603, Santa Sejun, What About Me? Black Tower, 99th floor. All right. As Sejun woke up, the dragon fruit with the ambiguous dragon Park Sejun's energy has gained a great enlightenment while using beginner magic swordsmanship. You have mastered beginner magic swordsmanship. Beginner magic swordsmanship master has advanced to intermediate magic swordsmanship LV. 1. Strength has increased by 100. Stamina has increased by 80. Agility has increased by 50. Magic power has increased by 50. Due to the effects of power, Super Sunfish Dual Core and Power, Resilient Young Dragon Solid Bones, all stat potentials have increased by 110. Due to the effects of power, Super Sunfish Dual Core and Power, Resilient Young Dragon Solid Bones, all stats have increased by 11. Messages floated in front of Sejun. Hehe, finally intermediate level. After struggling for so long, his swordsmanship skill had finally advanced. Thanks to Sejun No. 3's training with Bacha throughout the early morning, he had mastered the beginner level and stepped into the intermediate stage. Starting the day with good news, Sejun was in a great mood. Meow. Kaying. As he came out with Theo and the Blackie family. Hee, good morning, Sejun Nim. He saw Flamey basking in the sun. Yeah, good morning to you too, Flamey. Sejun greeted Flamey back and lifted her onto his shoulder. Shall we take a walk? Yes. While walking around the farm, Sejun let his footsteps be heard by the crops and harvested the ripe ones. The Xinjiang chili pepper of agony is grateful for the farmer's footsteps and lends you its strength. The effect of great blessing of the crops master activates, increasing the potential of your magic power stat potential from 48,192 to 48,202. His potential was steadily rising. Just a little more, and I'll hit 50,000 magic power potential. Checking the messages, Sejun murmured to himself. Then he took out the portal scroll, which served both as a family portrait and a portal to the temple of the Creator God, and checked its usage conditions. Prescription Alpha Liter Wendis X16 Ush. Usage restriction. Black Tower's Tower Farmer Park Sejun with at least 50,000 pure magic power. But how was he supposed to reach 50,000 pure magic power? Sejun pondered. Until now, the only reason he wanted to use the portal scroll was to visit Amur Lange and scold him for not properly drawing his face in the portrait. So he had assumed he'd hit 50,000 pure magic power someday and had taken things easy. There was no rush. However, after his conversation with Blackie yesterday, everything changed. He had learned that destruction was supposed to be the next creator god. He wanted to understand why the next creator god had fallen into corruption, and if possible, he wanted to help. After all, he had the destruction devourers, which could purify the energy of destruction, and he had the power to eradicate corruption. When the time came to battle against the corruption that had turned destruction, the next creator god, into what he was now, he planned to contribute his strength. Of course, I'll be support. Naturally, he had no intention of fighting on the front lines. First, I need to raise my magic power potential as much as possible. As long as his magic power potential was high, raising pure magic power would be easy. He just needed to eat crops that boosted the magic power stat. And Sejun had a trump card. If I learn beginner aura swordsmanship, I'll get stronger in no time. He was anticipating the rewards that came with reaching new realms. When Bacha had learned beginner aura swordsmanship, his stat potentials had increased by 100,000, and all his stats had risen by 5,000, making him incredibly powerful in an instant. Thanks to his heartbreak, Bachai had been channeling his emotions into training and had advanced from beginner to intermediate in just 3 days. Even if I'm slow, I can master advanced aura swordsmanship in 10 days. Please, Master Bo, keep growing. A truly exemplary disciple, Sejun wholeheartedly wished for his master's growth. However, Borarung, his supposedly reliable master, was lying next to Sejun number 3, completely covered in a blanket, sleeping soundly without a single worry in the world. It seemed he had burned through all his passion, fueled by heartbreak. In that case, I'll just have to refill his fuel. It looked like Bach needed stronger motivation. This time, Sejun planned to prepare an even greater heartbreak for him. After quickly eating breakfast with his companions, Sejun descended to the 75th floor of the tower. Hejel, do you happen to have any unmarried black wolves left? There are plenty, what's the matter? Well, actually, Sejun requested the Black Wolf tribe's chieftain, Hejel, to find a bride who would completely and utterly reject Bachai. Then, he returned to the 99th floor of the tower. And, door summon. He moved to the 10th tower to get Destruction Devourer seeds, and your field LV 9 has been activated. You planted Destruction Pioneer seeds in the body of Melpheus, the demon of ruin and 4th seat of the Apostles of Destruction. He planted the Destruction Pioneer seeds. At that moment, your field LV 9 has reached full proficiency and leveled up. Sejun's your field skill had reached the master level. The master level effect allowed him to activate Stat Harvest once every 100 harvests, granting him +10 to all stats. Although this was significantly less than what he could obtain through normal Stat Harvest, the upside was that he could trigger it over 100 times a day if he wanted to, making it a worthwhile trade-off. A short while later, Hamer Nim, give me the enhancing elixir. Having completed all his tasks, Sejun asked Hamer for the elixir before leaving. Then, Hamer, the god of farming, says, here you go. A single drop of the enhancing elixir appeared in Sejun's hand. Why only one drop? The last time he had received the enhancing elixir was nearly a month ago. Since Stella had been helping make it, Sejun should have been getting 2 drops by now. Hamer, the god of farming, says in an aggrieved tone that Stella used the 1-month vacation pass you gave her 5 days ago and is currently resting in the Silver Tower, so the production speed of the enhancing elixir has slowed down. A vacation pass. I gave that to her. 5 days ago, that's Christmas. So Santa Sejun must have handed it out. But what gift did I give to Patrick Nim? I suddenly can't remember. Curious about what Patrick had received from Santa Sejun, Sejun asked. Hamer, the god of farming, says you gave him a divine relic that can use void storage farm, and to Patrick Nim a divine relic that can create 330 million square meters of land. Oh right, I did give that to him. Wait, he got a divine relic as a Christmas gift. Santa Sejun, what about me? Why didn't I get anything? Hearing what the gods had received made Sejun feel a sharp pang of jealousy, a huge pang. Meow. Chairman Park, your face is getting ugly again, meow. Squish, squish. Noticing Sejun's jealousy-filled expression, Theo hurriedly stepped on him to snap him out of it. And so, with Theo's kneading, Sejun returned to the Black Tower. Grrrr, so you're Bache. Pipayak. Are you the one who will marry me? HMPH, you look so scrawny, do you even have what it takes to stand by my side? Sejun spotted Helena, the daughter of Chieftain Hejel, conversing with Bache. She had been sent by Hejel to reject Bache as brutally as possible. Pipayak, Pipayak. I may not look it, but I'm a strong man. Let me show you. What? At Helena's provocation, Bache grabbed 2 wooden swords and bam, bam, bam. Promptly beat her up. Master Bo, I told you to go easy. Watching the scene unfold, Sejun was stunned. It seemed Bachai had no concept of moderation. Then again, maybe this was actually a good thing. The harsher the rejection, the greater the heartbreak. Heh. A little while later, you think you can get married after beating a woman like that? Just stay single for life. Pipayak. No, wait, this is. Helena wasn't acting. She genuinely meant every word. After mercilessly tearing into Bacha with her words, she stormed off, descending the tower. And, Pipayak. But I did my best. Bacha, shocked from the rejection, slumped down on the floor in despair. He still didn't seem to understand what he did wrong. Phew. Yeah, he deserved that. Sejun let out a sigh as he looked at Bacha. Even though he had orchestrated this, Bachai's 300 years of single life experience had proven to be overwhelmingly strong. Even without intervention, Sejun would have bet a whole handful of Blackie's fur that Bacha would have been rejected 100% of the time. I need to bring an absolutely strong bride candidate for Master Bo. As Sejun was adding overwhelming strength to Bachai's bride candidate requirements. Kaying. Blackie began to whimper. It meant corruption had appeared. Sejun quickly stroked Blackie to calm him down and turned his gaze. Kirorong. Soon, the Blackie family started snoring and sleeping well. This should be fine now. After confirming that Blackie was fine, Sejun turned his attention away and entered the dimensional gate. There's nothing today. Sejun, who first entered Earthworm through the dimensional door, was disappointed when he didn't see tears of destruction anywhere. What he didn't know was that the increased production of energy of creation from Earthworm had eliminated the tiny gaps through which the tears of destruction used to seep. While Sejun was scanning his surroundings, Theo, Kyungi, and Blackie emerged from the dimensional gate and ran toward him. After gathering his group, "Here, take these." Sejun handed out Destruction Devourer seeds to the Destruction Sejuns, and together they planted the seeds. While they were planting seeds, magic swordsmanship has reached LV 3. A message appeared in front of Sejun. Bacha had begun training, using the pain of heartbreak as fuel. Intermediate magic swordsmanship has reached LV 4. Intermediate magic swordsmanship has reached LV 8. The notifications kept popping up every 10 minutes, a testament to how intensely Bacha was training. Hehe, Master Bo is on fire. Sejun smiled with satisfaction, finished planting all the Destruction Devourer seeds, and returned to the Black Tower, and by the time he got back, Bacha had reached a level where he could control 5 swords simultaneously using Mind Sword technique. Then when the next morning came, Bacha, the hero of Hamk, the one who wields 10 sword. Bacha was moving 10 swords, and Wulong. Meanwhile, Sejun number 3's sword was beginning to radiate black aura. He had finally reached the level where he could use aura. You have mastered advanced magic swordsmanship. You can now imbue your sword with aura. As your swordsmanship has ascended, advanced magic swordsmanship master has evolved into beginner aura swordsmanship LV 1. All stat potentials have increased by 10,000. All stats have increased by 500. Multiple messages appeared in front of Sejun. Master Bo, didn't you say that learning beginner aura swordsmanship gives you 100,000 to all stat potentials and 5,000 to all stats? Why am I only getting 1/10 of that? Was he getting discriminated against even in this? What an unfair world. Feeling bitter. Crunch, crunch. Sejun shoved elixir-grade cherry tomatoes into his mouth and chewed furiously. You have consumed an elixir. Cherry tomato imbued with powerful magic power. Magic power has increased by 10. Vitality. Using his vitality skill to speed up digestion, Sejun kept eating more of the elixir-grade cherry tomatoes. By the time he was done, his magic power had increased by 10,000. Raising magic power by 10,000 just by eating tomatoes. If others saw this, they'd definitely call Sejun's existence itself unfair. And, haha, Aileen, good morning me. Of course I dreamed of you. He even gets to talk with his girlfriend. Pipayak. Unfair world. Even Bacha, watching this, seethed with rage at the injustice of the world. Pipayak pipayak. Sejun number 3, duel me right now, your waist is open. Bam bam bam. Unable to vent his frustration on Sejun, Bachai took it out on Sejun number 3 instead. Beginner aura swordsmanship skill level has increased by 1. Beginner aura swordsmanship has reached LV 2. Thanks to this, both Bachai and Sejun's swordsmanship skills skyrocketed. They were the perfect master-disciple pair, constantly pushing each other to new heights. At that moment, Sejun Nim, this is a healthy supplement, would you like to try it? Flamey held out an apple to Sejun. Sejun had finally reached the level where he could consume Flamey's lowest-grade nutritional supplements. Chapter 604, why are you blocking it? Supplement. Sejun examined the red apple that Flamey handed him. Fire apple. Fire apple. Strangely, there were no other options displayed. Even when he stared intently at the apple hopping for his title, one who glimpsed long into the beginning to activate, there was no change. As he continued to inspect the apple, Asuso, a strange energy transmitted through his hand, sending chills down Sejun's spine. True to its name, the fire apple emanated a warm energy. However, rather than leaving behind pain or discomfort, it left a cool and refreshing sensation. What is this? Sejun instinctively recognized that this apple was extraordinary. Sejunum, hurry up and eat, it's good for your body. Seeing Sejun hesitate, Flamey urged him. Thinking too much leads to hesitation, and hesitation leads to missed opportunities. Though Flamey was smiling, her voice carried an undeniable force that left no room for refusal. Thanks to that, Sejun gained confidence. Yeah, I trust my Flamey. Crunch. With determination, Sejun took a big bite of the apple. Delicious. Every bite released a burst of sweet and tangy juice, filling his mouth with joy. Crunch, crunch. In no time, he finished the entire apple. Guys, I ate it all by myself. Just as he was about to apologize to his companions who were staring at him, intensely, with expectant eyes, for eating the whole apple, you have consumed a fire apple. All stat potentials increase by 10,000. All stats increase by 1,000. Blessing of the sacred fire burns away impurities in your body. Along with the message, a hot sensation surged from his chest and began spreading throughout his entire body. And then, you will. As the heat rose from his chest, he exhaled it through his mouth, spewing flames. Compared to a dragon's breath, it was nothing more than a tiny flicker, but the fire Sejun released instantly reduced a 33,000 square meters of field to ashes. And yet letter 1 ed1 letter 10, 331 yaw execute. Whoosh. At the same time, Sejun's clothes and even his body caught fire. However, it feels cool. Rather than pain, Sejun felt an even greater refreshing sensation as his body burned. And then he lost consciousness. Fortunately, high-grade items like the dragon horn's return bracelet remained intact, unscathed by the flames. Kaying. Butler, you can't die. The great Blackie will save you. Blackie rushed toward Sejun to extinguish the flames. But, Kyung, you shouldn't disturb Dad. Kyungi used telekinesis to hold Blackie back. Meanwhile, whoosh, Sejun's body was completely consumed by fire, leaving only dragon bones behind. No, to be exact, the heart of dark, the god of darkness, the divine blood, and the super sunfish dual core in his dantian also remained. Other than that, everything else of Sejun had burned away. It worked. Pew hut, that's right, meow. It was a success, meow. The tower's administrator says she was anxious, worrying whether Sejun would try to appraise the item. Kyung. Kyungi was also worried about how to refuse if Dad offered the apple. Aileen, Theo, Flamey, and Kyungi all looked at Sejun with relief. In truth, Sejun had a major issue. Power, resilient young dragon's solid bones. Power, divine blood flowing through the heart of dark, the god of darkness. Power, super sunfish dual core. These three powers were the problem. Normally, dragons, gods, and divine beasts are born with innate powers, meaning their bodies are naturally optimized for them. However, Sejun had acquired these powers later in life, and his body was completely ordinary. Managing three different powers with distinct properties was no easy feat. Because of this, these powers constantly fought for dominance inside Sejun's body whenever they had the chance, causing his body to creak and strain. Theo had been acting as the mediator in this struggle. Theo's ugly word carried multiple meanings, one of which was the struggle of Sejun's body as his powers clashed for dominance. Of course, there was no real need to step on Sejun's face, but Pew Hut, Great Hybrid Chairman Park's face is just so tempting to step on, meow. That was just Theo's preference. As Sejun's companions kept watch over him, the flames that had burned him now spread around his bones, heart, and core, forming new organs, muscles, and veins. At last, Sejun was being reborn into a body better optimized for his powers. Whoosh! As Sejun's body gradually took shape. Meow, I Vice Chairman Theo, shall protect the Great Hybrid Chairman Park's privacy, meow. Bang bang. Theo began placing Creator God's tablets around Sejun to shield his naked body. That's right, Kyungi, hurry and help cover too. Kyung. Flamey agreed with Theo and shouted at Kyungi. Once 8 Creator God's tablets had completely covered Sejun. Why are you blocking it? Aileen, watching through the crystal orb, groaned in disappointment. The Creator God's tablets could block the administrator's view. Kang Killahit. Cover Butler quickly. Our butler might die of shame later. He's a sunfish after all, hee. Blackie barked excitedly, teasing Sejun. Crack. The muscles on Sejun's forehead twitched slightly, but Blackie failed to notice. A moment later, the tower's administrator says the dragon bones seem to have fully settled now. Pew Hut, Chairman Park, you're much less ugly now, meow. Hee, Sejunum, now you can live at least 500 more years. Kyung. Dad, you're healthy now. Killahit Kang. Hee, Butler, you did well. Now we can grow the core more. As the group chatted while watching Sejun, who was now resting under a blanket. The old year came to an end, and a new year began. I should make more supplements for Sejunum. Park Flamey, the filial daughter of fire attribute, made her New Year's resolution while looking at Sejun. Hooray! Pottery and Sausage, who gained a nutritional supplement comrade, cheered in excitement. It was truly a wonderful New Year's gift. At that moment, Kyungi is going to sleep now. Dad, sleep well. Kyungi kissed Sejun's cheek and left the house. However, instead of heading straight to Pinkfur, Kyungi stood in the middle of the burned field, left behind by Sejun. Then, whoosh! A massive flame erupted from Kyungi's body. Kyung. Hehe, now Kyungi can use fire just like Dad. Kyungi, a filial son, gleefully copied Sejun's newly acquired ability. Kyung. Pinkfur watched Kyungi from afar with a sad expression. The night grew deeper along with Pinkfur's sadness. The next morning, as Sejun woke up, he felt his bare skin against the blanket and hurriedly lifted it. And then, why am I completely naked? He tried recalling his last memory from yesterday. I definitely ate the apple that Flamey gave me. Did I pass out again? Sejun accepted it like it was no big deal. He had fainted so many times before that it didn't even feel surprising anymore. In fact, this time was much better than usual. At least he passed out without any pain. Thinking back on the events of the previous day, Sejun slowly checked the notifications he hadn't seen yet. You have received the blessing of the sacred fire, and your body is being reconstructed. Your original power, unbreakable sturdy body, has been reconstructed through the blessing of the sacred fire. You have been granted power, strong body. You have acquired title, reborn from the flames. Oh, a new power and a title. Sejun quickly checked their details: power, strong body. As the name suggests, you possess an exceptionally strong body. Even if you receive fatal damage, you won't be injured as long as you have magic power and life force. Your hardened skin greatly reduces damage. Subdues all powers below Transcendence grade. All stat potentials plus 20000. All stats plus 1500. Title: Reborn from the Flames. Since you were reborn from flames, you cannot be harmed by fire. You can regenerate your body using the power of fire. Wow! Amazed, Sejun couldn't help but let out a gasp. The effects of the power and title were incredible. This is too much. Just from eating the fire apple, all his stat potentials increased by 10,000 and his stats by 1,000. But on top of that, these new power and title effects were even better. A feeling of guilt started creeping up. She definitely intended for us to share the apple, but I ate the whole thing myself. He felt especially guilty toward Flamey. At that moment, Sejunum, you're awake. Flamey entered the bedroom, smiling brightly. Yeah, Flamey, I'm sorry I ate the whole apple. Sejun apologized, watching Flamey's reaction carefully. Flamey had never gotten mad before, but that made him even more nervous. Then, it's okay. There are plenty of apples. Since you overexerted yourself yesterday, eat this one a month later. Flamey pointed to an apple placed next to Sejun's pillow, as if it had been there all along. She had prepared plenty in advance to gradually drain her energy. There's more. Then let's eat together, Flamey. Do you want me to peel it for you? As Sejun picked up the apple and spoke. No, that is, it wouldn't be beneficial for me to eat that apple. Flamey quickly stopped him. It wasn't a lie. An apple of that level wouldn't help her at all. But, I see, all right then, want to go for a walk instead? Yes. Sejun, thinking Flamey might be too weak for it to help, didn't press further. Instead, he picked Theo, Flamey, and the Blackie family and headed outside. A little later, I'll be cutting Gary Tiok, so you all go play outside and don't shed fur or dust inside. Meow, no way, meow. I Vice Chairman Theo do not shed fur, meow. Theo immediately objected, puffing up his chest. Because of his talent, strong hair, he never shed fur. I don't have fur either. Flamey, who normally listened well, sided with Theo, reluctant to leave Sejun's side. Kyungi doesn't shed fur either. Kyungi joined in. Kaying. I'm staying with my Hyungs. I'm not leaving. Blackie barked assertively. Then Blackie would stay inside too, right? Just go outside and play together nicely. While I'm asking nicely. But when he narrowed his eyes and glared at Theo. Hut, all right, meow. Okay. Kaying. The group went outside to play while Sejun stayed in the kitchen, stacking Gary Diok and slicing them diagonally. Since today was the first day of the new year, he planned to make Tdiakguk. Tdiakguk is sliced rice cake soup, which is a traditional dish eaten mostly during the celebration of Korean New Year. Haha. So, does this mean Master Bo is now entering his 301st year of being single? Excited about teasing Bacha later, Sejun grinned to himself. As he continued slicing the rice cakes, he also took the fish bones out of the pot where he had been simmering a broth and added seaweed, letting it boil together. Once the broth turned a rich, milky white, he tossed in the rice cakes. Nice. He seasoned it with soy sauce and salt, then finally chopped green onions and stir-fried egg garnish and slime meat to use as toppings for the soup. It's a shame I don't have any dried seaweed. I should find some seaweed. While making this New Year's resolution to find dried seaweed, the Tdiakguk was ready. Guys, it's time for breakfast. Master Bo, come eat. Sejun called out to his companions. Then, Aileen, here's your Tdiakguk. I added extra meat toppings just for you, as much as my feelings for you. Heather. He sent Aileen a bowl loaded with extra meat. The tower's administrator says that doesn't seem like enough love. Aileen, if I add any more meat, it'll not be titiakuk anymore. It'll be just stir-fried meat. As Sejun defended himself against accusations of lacking love. Pew Hut, Chairman Park, hurry up and give me my grilled fish, meow. Hee, Sejunum, I'd like some water, please. Kyung. Kaying. The group rushed inside the kitchen and quickly took their seats at the table. Pipayak. I trained so hard that I feel like my stomach is stuck to my back. Master Bo, who had spent the night training intensely with Sejun number 3, entered while rubbing his round belly. Thanks to that, Sejun's swordsmanship skill had reached beginner aura swordsmanship LV 7. After breakfast, Hehe, Master Bo, congratulations on becoming a 301-year-old single. Pipayak. 301 years single? What are you talking about? My birthday hasn't passed yet. Nope, in Korea, you age by 1 year once the new year starts. While Sejun, who didn't know the Korean law had changed, was having fun teasing Bache. Meanwhile, in the land of destruction. Help me. In the dark abyss, someone was desperately calling for help. Chapter 605, Hehe, as expected, my best friend. Black Tower, 99th floor. Pipayak. Sejunim, I think the time has finally come. Bache, who had been lazily patting his full belly after eating a hearty meal of titiakuk, suddenly spoke with a serious expression. Time. Pipayak. Yes, I will now pass on my technique to you. I can receive it later, though. Since Bache and Sejun number 3 were already increasing their skill levels just by training, Sejun wanted to delay receiving the skill transfer as much as possible. That way, he could receive even better skills later. However, Pipayak, I'm going to leave again to find a bride. Bache intended to pass on his skill to Sejun and then depart. Why, let's find one together. I'll find you a great bride. Sejun tried to persuade him, but Pipayak. No, I think it's better to search alone. With his sharp intuition, Bache instinctively knew he had to escape Sejun's grasp. That's a shame. Sejun was deeply disappointed by Bache's refusal. So far, Bache's record stood at 3 confessions, 3 rejections. The big entertainment of watching Bache set new records was now gone. More than the skill, this was what Sejun truly cared about. Pipayak. Then I'll begin the skill transfer. All right. As Sejun gave his permission. Hub. Bache jumped onto the top of Sejun's head and plop, placed his tiny pink jelly pad of front paw on Sejun's head, starting the skill transfer. Bache, Hamk's hero, the one who wields 17 swords, is transferring the skill, Advanced Aura Swordsmanship. Previously, he had been unable to transfer this skill due to a lack of aura. Then Bache, Hamk's hero, the one who wields 17 swords, is additionally transferring the skill, Unity of Sword and Body. Bache, Hamk's hero, the one who wields 17 swords, is additionally transferring the Swordmaster exclusive skill, Sword Mastery. Bache passed on additional skills. Now that Sejun's beginner aura swordsmanship had reached the realm of mastery, and his body had been reconstructed after eating Flamey's fire apple, he was capable of receiving higher-tier skill transfers. Letter 24D, Letter 1D586, Nye O Breve B, Eomlaut S Hacheku, have received Advanced Aura Swordsmanship, Master. You have received Unity of Sword and Body, Master. You have met all the conditions to be promoted to Swordmaster. Hehe, now I'm a Swordmaster too. While Sejun was rejoicing over receiving swordsmanship skills from Bache, a tower farmer is not permitted to become a Swordmaster. The Swordmaster exclusive skill, Sword Mastery, cannot be transferred. Messages appeared before Sejun. The Swordmaster exclusive skill, Sword Mastery, is being converted to the Tower Farmer exclusive skill, Mastery of Farming Tools. Are you kidding me? Mastery of Farming Tools? That's so lame. Sejun checked the skill just in case, but Tower Farmer exclusive skill, Mastery of Farming Tools LV. 1. When using farming tools, crop planting speed increases by 1%, crop growth speed increases by 1%, crop harvesting speed increases by 1%, and crop shelf life increases by 1 day. The effects were so minuscule that Sejun was infuriated all over again. Damn you, system, I'm going to impeach you, I swear I will. Sejun raged at the system. Meow, Chairman Park, calm down, meow. Your face is getting ugly, meow. Seeing Sejun's expression, Theo hurriedly began kneading his face with his paws. No, Vice Chairman Theo, this is a time for anger. Meow, is that so, meow? Now I'm suddenly angry too, meow. At Sejun's words, Theo became even angrier than Sejun. Hehe, as expected, my best friend. As Sejun looked at Theo with pride. Meow, Chairman Park, but who are we supposed to be mad at, meow? Theo asked, struggling to summon his anger without knowing the target. The system toyed with me. Meow, it was the system, meow. How dare it mock the great hybrid Chairman Park, meow, impeach the system, meow. At Sejun's words, Theo became greatly enraged. Since he already held a grudge, it was easy for him to immerse himself in the emotion. While Sejun and Theo were fuming. Pipayak. Sejunim, I'll be off now. Bacha was ready to leave. All right, travel safely, and I hope you find a good bride. Sejun wished Bacha good luck. Once Bacha departed. Time to work. Sejun got up as well. Then, meow. Kyung. He pried Theo and Kyungi off his body and got them ready for work. A short while later. Puhu Hut, Chairman Park, I'm going to earn lots of money, meow. Kyung. Kyungi will gather lots of good medicinal herbs too. As Theo and Kyungi left for work, Theo to the 27th floor of the Red Tower and Kyungi to the herb fields. Blackie, let's get to work too. Kaying. Sejun placed Blackie in his sling bag and started his morning tasks. First, he harvested the crops from the 99th floor farm. All right, everyone ready. Kwek. Together with the mushroom ants, he transplanted pre-sprouted sticky rice seedlings into the paddy field that Toryong had prepared. The rice they were planting today was a +1 enhanced golden glutinous rice, strengthened once with the enhancing elixir. The enhancement didn't improve the medicinal effect of the rice, but it did reduce the amount needed to activate its effects from 100,000 grains to 70,000. After finishing the transplanting, summon door. Clicking. Sejun ate a strength-boosting yellow bean and turned the key, opening the door to the 10th tower. Patricknum Hammernum, I'm here. After greeting them, you're afield. Master has been activated. You have planted a destruction pioneer seed in the body of Melpheus, the demon of ruin and 4th seat of the apostles of destruction. Sejun planted the destruction pioneer seeds into Melpheus's body. It'll disappear soon, right? Seeing how much smaller Melpheus's body had become, Sejun decided to store the body in his void storage when work was done. If Melpheus's body disappeared while he was away, he wouldn't be able to receive the experience points. As he continued planting the seeds, you have defeated Melpheus, the demon of ruin and 4th seat of the apostles of destruction. You have gained 6 trillion experience points. You have leveled up. You have received 1 bonus stat point. Strength has increased by 30. Strength potential has increased by 1%. A string of messages appeared before Sejun. Melpheus's body had disappeared faster than expected. Once again, Sejun received an immense amount of experience points, forcibly completing his job quest and reaching level 161. The job quest rewards included +300 to all stats and 20 billion tower coins. Heh, nice. Another day of growth. This is why farming is worth it. Feeling proud, Sejun finished planting the remaining destruction pioneer seeds. Then, Kilahit Kaying. He quickly offer the seeds to the great Blackie. Tui tui tui. Tui tui tui. While sitting next to Blackie, who was collecting seeds from the destruction devourers, waiting for seed collection to finish. Kilahit Kaying. He Butler, the great Blackie has gathered all the seeds. Good job. Once the seed collection was complete, Sejun packed up the seeds and placed the Blackie family into his sling bag. Kaying. Butler, I'm about to go apologize, so watch over me closely. All right. Sejun paid attention to Blackie, who was still holding the world's energy piece in his mouth as he slept. I'll be off now. After bidding farewell to Patrick and Hamer, Sejun returned to the Black Tower. Brother-in-law. He took a short break and played with Ace for a bit before passing through the dimensional gate to Earthworm. Still nothing today. Sejun was disappointed to find that no new tiers of destruction had appeared. Moreover, the other destruction Sejuns had all transformed into tiers of the Creator at some point. As a result, he gained 5 more drops of the tears of the Creator, but now he was the only one working in Earthworm. Sejunum, keep your spirits up. Something good is bound to happen soon. Flamey comforted Sejun. Recently, multiple cracks had been discovered, and they were searching for a safe path for the tears of destruction to reach Earthworm. As expected, my Flamey is the best. After praising Flamey and gently patting her. Thud, thud. Sejun began planting destruction, devourer seeds into the ground. I want to make Sejunum happy as soon as possible. Flamey diligently moved her roots, luring the tears of destruction through various cracks while creating a path to Earthworm that was free of energy of creation. As each of them focused on their tasks. Kaying. Blackie started whimpering. Corruption had appeared. Raka, by my little mutt. Sejun stroked Blackie's head and sang a lullaby, mocking him in the process. Sejun and Blackie were always ready to tease each other whenever they had the chance. Inside Blackie's mental world. I forgive you. As the last of the 1 millionth soul forgave the Blackie family and returned to the world's energy. Gyuraruk. A red energy seeped out from the souls, gathering and beginning to transform into corruption. Since it was the 1 millionth, this corruption was 3 times larger and significantly stronger than before. And then, QQ, we meet again, betrayed wolf. Are you not afraid of being betrayed once more? It peered deep into Blackie's mind, exposing his secrets. Grrrr, shut up. Soon my butler will burn you to ashes. Blackie roared angrily at such corruption and flash. A golden light descended from the sky, setting the corruption ablaze. QQ, do not think that this feeble power of the primordial can continue to stop me. You all know it, don't you? That you will ultimately be abandoned, so why? This time, it took a considerably longer period for the corruption to fully dissipate. Grrrr, so frustrating. Next time, I will make sure to say that I trust my butler. Blackie growled in frustration as he gazed at the spot where the corruption had vanished, regretting that he had failed to say he trusted Sejun. Earthworm. The sound of Blackie's whimpering gradually faded, and then he opened his eyes. And, Kaying. Butler, the apology is done now. He handed the world's energy he had been holding to Sejun. World's energy freed from corruption. Its name had changed, signifying that the corruption's will had been completely erased. Corruption had been meticulous, hiding its will within the world's energy in case destruction failed. If destruction ever failed, it could take time, but using the world's energy to rebuild the world would eventually allow it to revive. Of course, thanks to Sejun and the Blackie family, that plan was beginning to crumble. Blackie, you did great. Kilahit Kaying. Butler. Since the great Blackie did so well, give me some roasted and dried sweet potatoes. All right. Feeling triumphant from Sejun's praise, Blackie stuffed himself with the roasted and dried sweet potatoes Sejun gave him and took a break while Sejun continued planting seeds. Since he was planting destruction devourer seeds alone today without the help of the destruction Sejuns, it took a long time. Then, Chairman Park, I'm back, meow. Kyung. Kyungi is back too. Theo and Kyungi, who had finished work earlier, came looking for Sejun. You guys worked hard. As Sejun patted the heads of Theo and Kyungi, who had snuggled into his arms. Pew hut, Chairman Park, take this, meow. I Vice Chairman Theo sold out everything again today, meow. Kyueha Kyung. Hehe, Kyungi also gathered 5 medicinal herbs today. Theo and Kyungi handed over what they had brought. Great job, thank you. After praising them, Sejun continued planting the remaining seeds. Then, what do I do? Flamey was in trouble again. It's done, now I'm a demigod too. Sweetie, who had been absorbing Flamey's power, had become a demigod. As a result, Sweetie could no longer absorb Flamey's power. At that moment, Kwek, a group of mushroom ants happened to be passing by Flamey's roots. Hey, do you guys need some power? Wouldn't it be nice to have a mushroom ant god too? Flamey began eyeing the mushroom ants with interest. And Seed Shop Headquarters, Sweetie, the demigod poisonous queen bee, partner bee of Black Towers Park Sejun, has visited for career counseling. Trustin Park's partner bee. Partner. Due to the misunderstanding by the non-combat deities, Sweetie's field visit turned into very grand. Chapter 606, Then I Have to Work Again. Black Tower Administrator's Area, Sweetie, the demigod poisonous queen bee, speaks in a sulky voice, saying that the non-combat gods misunderstood her as Sejun Nim's partner. When Sweetie, who had returned from the tour of the Seed Shop headquarters, tattled to Aileen about the non-combat gods' misdeeds. What they thought you were. Those non-combat gods dared to pair up Sweetie with my Sejun. Aileen, enraged, began to gather her energy. Then, Q-will. Aileen's overwhelming aura spread around her. Puhithi, hiyik. Ace, who had been playing happily nearby, turned pale with fear. Sweetie, the demigod poisonous queen bee, says that she cleared up the misunderstanding of the non-combat gods by telling them that Sejun Nim's girlfriend is Aileen Unnai. All right, thanks for letting me know. Just as Aileen's mood improved slightly after hearing Sweetie's words. Thud. Several dragons entered the administrator's area, each holding baby dragons in their arms. Aileen, we're here. Hello. It's been a while. The baby dragons, as soon as they left their parents' embrace, ran to Aileen and greeted her. Welcome, everyone. Aileen also greeted them warmly. Welcome, you must have had a hard time getting here. She didn't forget to greet the adult dragons as well. Normally, baby dragons wouldn't need to be so polite, since adults would dote on them regardless, but if I build up my reputation like this, it'll help Sejun later. Thinking of Sejun, Aileen treated the adult dragons with great respect. Some of this she had even learned from Sejun. What do you mean hard time? Aileen has it harder than us. Yeah, we heard the dragon market has been super busy lately. It's fine since Unnai and Opa have been helping out now and then. Ho, is that your way of asking us to come more often? Did you catch on? Ho, all right, we'll come more often. Well, we'll chat with Elizabeth for a bit, so call us if you need anything. Yes. The parent dragons, after having a pleasant conversation with Aileen, left the administrator's area to find Elizabeth. While Aileen was seeing them off. Ace, what's wrong with him? Garrick noticed Ace, who was revving up for a dramatic wail. Pawing, I was scared. Ace finally burst into tears. Ace, don't cry, we'll play with you. Yeah, stop crying and come play with Sylvia Nuna. What are you talking about? Of course, Ace should play with Po Bai Hyung. As the baby dragons comforted Ace. Puahiti, what are we gonna play? Ace grinned and asked. Superhero landing. Hide and seek. When the baby dragons mentioned games Aileen had taught them. Puahiti, let's play something even more fun. Something more fun. Puahiti, yes, let's play farming. Hey. Ace beamed and pulled out a shovel. And then, I tried it with brother-in-law, and it was really fun. Really? So this is the game that the Tower Farmer Park Sejun plays. Hearing that this was the game played by Sejun, who was very popular among dragons, the baby dragon's interest peaked. 99th floor of the Black Tower. That's weird, I'm sure I got stronger. We're Kwek. Sejun frowned as he watched poisonous bees and mushroom ants pass by him. His stats had increased tremendously, yet the poisonous bees were still faster than him, and the mushroom ants were still stronger. Why? I got stronger. Sejun began to doubt his own growth. I should go see the Minotaur King and get tested after a long time. Determined, he stood up. Then, Meow, Chairman Park, where are you going, Meow? Kyung. Kaying. Theo Kyungi and Blackie also got up and asked. I'm going to see the Minotaur King. Pew Hut, let's go, Meow. Kyung. Kaying. With that, Sejun and his companions set off to find the Minotaur King. Moo. Sejun Nim, you lasted 2 minutes and 50 seconds under my 2 fingers. The Minotaur King had measured Sejun's combat power. However, 2 minutes and 50 seconds. Hearing the Minotaur King's words, Sejun was shocked. I actually lasted 10 seconds less. His endurance against the Minotaur King's fingers had decreased. While Sejun had been growing, the residents of the 99th floor of the tower hadn't been slacking off either. And the main culprit behind the 99th floor's power inflation was. Sejun Nim, keep it up. If you take lots of the supplements I gave you, next time you'll last 5 minutes. With thanks. It was Flamey, who was comforting Sejun while offering him more supplements. Not only the poisonous bees and mushroom ants, but even other beings in the tower had been absorbing Flamey's energy, cooperating to help her stay there. Prescription ANU letter 1ED7 letter 1D587, yes diuresis. Naturally, the Minotaur King and Pinkfur, who had greater potential than the others, had consumed multiple doses of Flamey's lowest-tier supplements, resulting in their massive growth. However, the blessing of sacred fire from the fire apple that Sejun had eaten wasn't present in any of the other supplements. That was something Flamey had to put extra effort into making, so only Sejun received it. Despite all this growth, I'm still the weakest again. Since everyone had grown together, Sejun had once again become the bottom rung, leaving him feeling dejected as he returned home. And then, I feel down, I need something spicy. After sweating it out with tteokbokki made with sundried red pepper gochujang and chinjang chili peppers. Phew, that hit the spot. Sejun's mood improved in no time. Kyung. Since Dad ate something spicy today, it's time for sweet chocolate milk. On top of that, Kyungi, showing great sense, brought cold chocolate milk instead of coffee. Heh, thanks. Slurp. Thanks to that, Sejun's condition bounced back to peak levels as if he had never been down in the first place. As he relaxed with his group, sipping on chocolate milk. Aileen, did you enjoy the tteokbokki? He asked Aileen. Then the tower administrator says that only she and Sylvia and I ate the spicy one, while Ace and the others only had the soy sauce tteokbokki. The tower administrator says she's upset that the Opas don't appreciate the taste of spicy tteokbokki. That was Aileen's response. Hearing that baby dragons from other towers had come to visit Aileen, Sejun made more tteokbokki and sent it to her. One batch spicy, the other soy sauce based. Well, that's understandable. Tower administrator says that if tteokbokki were sold at the dragon market, it would sell really well. Would it? Well, making it isn't difficult. I can just mass-produce it using my cooking skill. As he continued chatting with Aileen. Kaying. At some point, Blackie, who had been apologizing to Souls again, encountered corruption and began whimpering. He's working too hard. Seeing Blackie excessively devoted to his apologizing lately, Sejun gently rubbed his belly. A little while later. Kaying, "Butler, give me roasted and dried sweet potato." Having snapped back to reality, Blackie urgently demanded dried sweet potato slices. "All right." On any other day, Sejun might have teased him, saying, "Did you leave some here?" But today he didn't, because Blackie was acting extremely anxious, though it didn't seem like he had caused any trouble. Chomp chomp chomp. Unlike usual, Blackie didn't smile, but devoured the dried sweet potato slices in a hurry. Keikirorong. Then he once again bit into the world's energy and fell asleep. Going to apologize to the souls again. What's going on with him? Sejun watched Blackie with concern. No matter how he looked at it, this wasn't like him. He seemed to be rushing, as if something was chasing him. "I feel like I shouldn't just leave this alone. Vice Chairman Theo, help me out." Pew Hut, Great Hybrid Chairman Park, what do you need help with, meow? I Vice Chairman Theo will help with anything, meow. Theo asked excitedly at Sejun's request for help. Help me enter Blackie's mental world. Pew Hut understood, meow. Super Giant Chairman Park number 2, come help, meow. Theo placed his front paws on Sejun's forehead and Blackie's head, calling for assistance from the Super Giant Chairman Park number 2 within his mental world. The Ultra Super Giant Chairman Park becoming Santa Sejun, the god of Christmas, in Theo's empty mental world. However, during Christmas, the great black dragons had visited, leaving behind an overflow of powerful energy. Pew Hut, now I can quickly grow Chairman Park number 2, meow. Using his talent, energy absorption, Theo greedily absorbed the abundant energy of the great dragons. Thanks to that, Chairman Park number 2 rapidly grew into Super Giant Chairman Park number 2 the moment he was born. Kura, Gorarong, Keikirorong. As Sejun, Theo, and the Blackie family fell asleep, Kyung, even Kyungi, imitating Theo, placed both of his front paws on the heads of passing poisonous bees and mushroom ants, as if trying to do the same thing. Blackie's mental world. I'm sorry, here's a gift of apology. I'm really sorry. Blackie and his subordinates handed out roasted and dried sweet potato slices to the souls, apologizing and asking for their forgiveness. But we've apologized properly now. Can't you just forgive us already? Why aren't they forgiving me quickly? Growing anxious, Blackie started to get frustrated with the souls that weren't immediately forgiving him. Naturally, his discontent showed on the surface. Cannot forgive. The more Blackie acted that way, the redder the soul's eyes became, refusing to forgive him. And then, grrr. Feeling uneasy, Blackie grew angrier, trapping himself in an endless vicious cycle. The more the cycle continued, the greater his anxiety became. If I become a burden like this, I'll be abandoned again. Butler will betray me. His biggest fear was Sejun betraying him. Unbeknownst to him, the seed of distrust that corruption had planted had begun to take root in his trauma. At that moment, boom! Blackie, what kind of apology is that? That's right, meow. Apologize properly, meow. Sejun and Theo, watching from the shoulders of Super Giant Chairman Park number 2, shouted. Hug Butler, Caught off guard by Sejun's sudden appearance, Blackie fumbled, trying to explain himself. But I knew this would happen. That's right, meow. I knew it too, meow. Theo, slice this up for me. Pew Hut, got it, meow. Sejun and Theo, having descended from Super Giant Chairman Park number 2, quickly began making roasted and dried sweet potato slices. I know our Blackie did wrong, but he's still learning how to apologize properly. Eat this and calm down, okay? They handed out sweet potato slices to the souls. Since this was the mental world, summoning food was effortless, and the roasted and dried sweet potatoes were made in an instant. Pew Hut, forgive our Blackie, meow, otherwise I'll stamp you with my seal. Hey you! Just as Theo was about to stamp the souls with his seal, Sejun grabbed him. Now Theo dangled quietly from Sejun's knee. Meow meow meow. Of course, for Theo, this was an even better situation, as Sejun diligently handed out sweet potato slices to the soul. Forgiveness is something you grant, not something I should force onto you. I'm truly sorry. I'm sorry. Blackie family, following Sejun's example, sincerely apologized to the souls once again. Fortunately, the souls, once red eyes began to clear one by one. I forgive you. Some of the souls finally forgave the Blackie family. Compared to before, the process was painfully slow, but with Sejun by his side, Blackie felt less anxious and was able to apologize wholeheartedly. Considering how poorly Blackie family had acted earlier, just having some souls forgive them was already a blessing. Whoosh. This time, the red aura that had seeped from the souls dispersed and vanished the moment it reached Sejun's gaze. Thanks to that, there was no confrontation with corruption, and Sejun and his companions were able to apologize to the souls in peace and Kyung. Dad, wake up. Sejun snapped back to his senses at the sound of Kyungi's voice waking him. Why is it bright around me? When I closed my eyes, it was dark, but now it's bright. Kyung. Dad, it's morning. It's already morning. Kyung. That's right. Turns out, Sejun had been handing out roasted and dried sweet potato slices in Blackie's mental world all night long. So now I have to work again. And so, another new day began for Sejun. Chapter 607, Hee hee. Somehow I feel relieved. At the center of a dense green forest, a blue wolf was lying down, sound asleep. Small birds and weak animals had nestled against the wolf's body or nearby, seeking its protection. Just then, Fenrir, the hell wolves have invaded again. Let's hurry and stop them. A blond, handsome man appeared and called out to Fenrir, causing the small birds and animals to scatter in a panic. GRR, how annoying. Tig, just go handle it yourself. You're the guardian deity of this place, aren't you? Fenrir responded to Tig's call with an annoyed expression and closed his eyes again. But, Fenrir, don't be like that. Let's make a bet on who can take down more. GRR, fine. Not that it matters, since the noble wolf Fenrir will win anyway. Tig, the guardian deity of Hellies and the god of justice, knew exactly what it took to get Fenrir to move. A short while later, GRR, Tig, I won again this time. Fenrir, who was much stronger than Tig, won the bet. Ha ha ha, yeah, you won, Fenrir, congratulations. Tig cheerfully congratulated Fenrir. The two got along well for hundreds of years. At least that's what Fenrir believed. Squelch. Until the moment the god of justice, Tig, stabbed Fenrir in the chest, right after Fenrir had slain the last hell wolf. And he did it with the annihilation blade, the very sword Fenrir had saved for him. Tig, why are you? The shock of betrayal left Fenrir speechless. The deeper the trust, the greater the pain. Ha ha ha, Fenrir, because you're the last hell wolf left in this world. Didn't I tell you? My goal is the total extermination of the hell wolves. Tig responded with a sinister smile. What, me a hell wolf? That's impossible, my fur is. The truth was this. Tig had lured Rongar, the god of the hell wolves, into a trap and killed him to become the sole god of Hellies. After Rongar's death, Tig discovered that he had been carrying an unborn pup. So he cut open Rongar's belly, took out the pup, named him Fenrir, and raised him himself. Thus, Tig tricked Fenrir, the god of the hell wolves, into slaughtering his own kind, while making the hell wolves despise their own god. When the hunt is over, the hunting dog is disposed of. Fenrir, you're just a burden to me now. Accept your fate and die by your master's hand. Master, weren't we friends? Huh? How dare a mere wolf presume to be friends with Tig, the god of justice? Crunch. In response to Fenrir's question, Tig drove the annihilation blade deeper into his chest. As Fenrir looked at Tig, reason abandoned him and his vision turned blood red. I'll kill you before I die. With a desperate resolve for revenge, Fenrir forced his body to rise. The pain from the wound, was nothing compared to the agony of betrayal. At that moment, everything around him turned black. And, damn it, that dream again. Blackie, who had just had a nightmare for the first time in ages, regained awareness in a lucid dream. The day he had been deceived into massacring his own kin and was betrayed by his most trusted friend. He had no memory after that. When he regained consciousness, his once blue fur had turned black, and he had already devoured countless gods. He had become Fenrir, the first seed of the apostles of destruction, the wolf that hunts gods, feared by all gods. I hate nightmares. Now I don't even want to go back to sleep. As Blackie debated whether to get up or not. He heard Sejun's humming. Is my butler really happy working all night, and then working again? Well, at least he's not handsome like Tig and has black hair, so he won't betray me, right? Hee hee. Somehow I feel relieved. Blackie smirked, imagining how furious Sejun would be if he knew what he had just thought, and then drifted back to sleep. This time, fortunately, there was no nightmare. Instead, Blackie, in the middle of a vast grassland, Sejun was waving a giant roasted and dried sweet potato at him. Kaying. Butler. Excited, Blackie sprinted towards Sejun and leaped for the sweet potato he held. Chomp, chomp, chomp. It was the happiest dream ever. 10th Tower, 1st floor, you're a field master, has been activated. You have planted the destruction pioneer seed in the body of Delia, the demon of corruption and 8th seat apostle of destruction. Kivihit. Do you like it, huh, do you? Sejun, who had been eagerly planting the destruction pioneer seed into Delia's body where Melpheus had disappeared, glared at Blackie, who was grinning in his sleep inside the sling bag. When it was because of him that he was working without rest. And yet this guy is just sleeping away. Just moments ago, he had been humming cheerfully, but now, for no reason, he lashed out at Blackie while stroking his head. Then, why are you so damp? Were you too hot? Maintain cleanliness. He washed off the sweat-soaked Blackie, who had been drenched from the nightmare, and resumed planting seeds. Starting today, he decided not to take the destruction devourer seeds to Earthworm, but plant them together instead. This was because the number of destruction devourers in Earthworm had increased significantly, making it unnecessary to keep bringing seeds from the 10th Tower. By the time he was finishing up planting the seeds, Kugagung, the energy of creation produced in the 10th Tower, has reached 24 million L. The 6th floor of the 10th Tower has been unlocked. The 6th floor of the 10th Tower has been activated. The 6th floor of the tower had opened. Oh! Upon seeing the message, Sejun immediately moved to the 5th floor and placed his hand on the white crystal. You have cleared the 5th floor of the 10th Tower. As a reward for clearing the 5th floor, all stats have increased by 300. As a reward for clearing the 5th floor, you have received 40 billion tower coins and 800 billion EXP. Level up. You are moving to the 6th floor of the 10th Tower. With the floor clear rewards, he was transported to the 6th floor. You have arrived at the 6th floor of the 10th Tower. A vast, empty land stretched before him. Heh, so this is all my land. At the same time, an intense passion surged within him to fill this massive land with crops. Plop, plop. Excited, he started planting seeds. Sejun planted seeds relentlessly. You have created 3.3 million square meters power sweet potato field. You have gained 5 million EXP. I stayed here too long. Only after seeing the message did he realize he had spent too much time planting sweet potatoes. He quickly got up, because he still had to head to Earthworm to plant more seeds. Growl. On top of that, he had apparently skipped lunch. I should go back to the tower, have lunch, and then move on to Earthworm. Just as Sejun arrived at the Black Tower, you have acquired 100 slaves. Due to the effect of title, Slave King, all stats have increased by 1. A message popped up before Sejun. The number of employees in Sejun Company was increasing rapidly. 87th floor of the Red Tower. What? Vice Chairman Theo has arrived at the 27th floor of the tower. Yes, he's personally conducting an auction there. Is that so? Hearing his subordinates report, Bayon fell into deep thought. Heh, this is a golden opportunity. Soon, he realized this was a chance granted to him by the heavens. Deputy Manager Red Tower 87F Loser, loyal full-time employee, Red Fox Bayon, Balrog Nim, Theo Nim has arrived on the 27th floor of the tower. Don't you think this is a great chance to increase the number of Sejun Company's full-time employees in our Red Tower? A chance to boost his performance and become a manager. No, this wasn't just a chance. This was a divine opportunity granted by Sejun Nim, heh. As Bayon felt deep gratitude towards Sejun Manager, Red Tower 99F Boss, Battle Maniac Balrog. Yeah, things have been dull with too few full-time employees. But how do you suggest we do it? Balrog asked for a method. Deputy Manager Red Tower 87F Loser, loyal full-time employee Red Fox Bayon, heh. I have a great idea. Let's spread a rumor. Bayon shared his plan. The rumor. There's a sucker cat named Park Sejun with tons of money on tower floor 27. With just that, full-time employees would start flocking in on their own. The moment someone shouts Park Sejun, hand over your money, in front of Theo, they were 100% guaranteed to become a full-time employee. Manager Red Tower 99F Boss, Battle Maniac Balrog. That's a brilliant plan. Battle Maniac Balrog was thrilled. Just then Red Tower's 22F Boss, Flame Squirrel Yappy. I confessed again and got rejected again, Koyuyu Inus. Yappy, who had previously received dating advice from Sejun only to be brutally rejected, posted a message in the network. Manager Red Tower 99F Boss, Battle Maniac Balrog. So that makes it 10 confessions and 35 rejections now. Yappy, as long as you have perseverance, love is possible. Stay strong. Balrog encouraged Yappy. The reason it was 10 confessions and 35 rejections was that 25 times he had been rejected before even getting the chance to confess. Red Tower's 22F Boss, Flame Squirrel Yappy. Thank you, Balrog Nim. Let's both keep trying. Yappy, assuming that Balrog was also single, responded with appreciation. However, Manager Red Tower 99F Boss, Battle Maniac Balrog. What are you talking about? I have 5 lovers. Balrog was a popular monster who received confessions without even trying. Red Tower's 22F Boss, Flame Squirrel Yappy, a traitor. Yappy was heartbroken by Balrog's words. Deputy Manager Red Tower 87F Loser, loyal full-time employee Red Fox Bayon. Yappy, I'll set you up on a blind date later. But for now, head to the 27th floor and assist Vice Chairman Theo. Red Tower's 22F Boss, Flame Squirrel Yappy. Really? Got it, I'll go right away. Rejuvenated by Bayon's words, Yappy immediately headed toward Theo. Red Tower, 27th floor. Pew Hut, another sold-out day. I hope Chairman Park will be pleased, meow. Theo was preparing to finish work after another successful sellout. At that moment, a group of red skunks with red fur surrounded him. Are you the guy named Park Sejun? Pew Hut, thank you for mistaking me for the great hybrid Chairman Park, meow. But I'm not Chairman Park, I'm Vice Chairman Theo, meow. Theo quickly corrected the red skunk's misunderstanding. However, don't be ridiculous, you think we'll fall for that. Park Sejun, if you don't want to die, hand over the money. Thinking that Theo was lying to escape danger, the red skunks pointed their swords at his neck. And then, did you just say you'd kill my Chairman Park, meow? Theo was far more enraged by the threat to Sejun's life than by the sword at his own throat. Pow thud. He swiftly knocked the red skunks unconscious. Since you threatened Chairman Park's life, you're obviously a full-time employee, meow. He stamped their foreheads and confiscated their belongings. Just then, are you Park Sejun? New villains appeared and, pow thud. Theo knocked them out, stamped them, and looted them as well. You're Park. Before they could finish their words, more villains kept appearing. At that moment, "Oh, Vice Chairman Theo, hello, let me help you." Yappy, who had just arrived from the 22nd floor, rushed over. "Pew hut, excellent, meow. Yappy, you take care of collecting the loot, meow." "Yes." With Yappy's assistance, Theo continued to increase the number of Red Tower full-time employees. Red Monkey Mongpol from the Red Tower's 43rd floor has joined Sejun Company. Red Monkey Mongu from the Red Tower's 43rd floor has joined Sejun Company. As more and more employees entered the Red Tower's full-time employee network, the number of full-time employees from the Red Tower in Sejun Company has exceeded 10,000. Sejun Company's influence in the Red Tower has significantly increased. The full-time employee network of Sejun Company has been expanded. From now on, direct communication between full-time employees of the Black Tower and the Red Tower will be possible. The full-time employee network had been upgraded. Today, too, Sejun Company system grew one step further. Chapter 608, You're the youngest manager now. Black Tower, 99th floor. From now on, direct communication between full-time employees of the Black Tower and the Red Tower will be possible. As the communication networks of the Black Tower and the Red Tower merged, Black Tower 59F Green Goblin Paku, any Red Tower employees ranked below me, introduce accordingly. For reference, I've been employed for 148 days. Paku took the lead in organizing the hierarchy. Then Red Tower 33F Red Skunk, number 23. Who are you to tell us when to introduce ourselves? Red Tower 43F Red Monkey Mongu, introductions. You should be the ones doing that. We, the Red Lawless Gang, are taking over this place. The new recruits of the Red Tower immediately resisted. Red Tower 87F Loser, loyal full-time employee, Red Fox Bayon. This is embarrassing. They're newcomers who just joined, so they don't have a clue yet. Give me an hour and I'll straighten them out. Bayon, whose pride was hurt from showing such an unsightly scene to the Black Tower employees, left a message while grinding his teeth, and "Go educate them, yes." At Bayon's command, the Red Fox members set off for the lower floors. While the Red Fox members were on their way to discipline the newcomers, Black Tower 99F boss, Minotaur King, Balrog, you're the youngest manager now. Minotaur King attempted to hand over the youngest manager position to Balrog. However, Red Tower 99F boss, Battle Maniac Balrog, no way. I'm stronger, so you should be the youngest manager, Minotaur King. Balrog immediately protested. If Minotaur King were right in front of him, he wouldn't have dared to say such things, but Balrog had never seen Minotaur King in person. Besides, as a battle maniac, Balrog couldn't accept being designated as the youngest without even having fought first. At that moment, Combat Shop Headquarters, God of Battle Battler, let me determine which of you is stronger. Seeing that the manager hierarchy dispute was dragging on, Battler, who had been silent until now, stepped forward. That was the real reason Minotaur King had been the youngest manager. Above him were Battler, the god of battle, and Hunt, the god of hunting, both approved by Theo. Combat Shop Headquarters, God of Battle Battler, uses virtual duel. In a virtual space, Minotaur King and Balrog appeared. The two immediately began a fight. The virtual duel results are in. Black Tower 99F boss, Minotaur King's win rate 100%. Red Tower 99F boss, Battle Maniac Balrog's win rate 0%. The result was a complete victory for Minotaur. Tower 99F boss, Minotaur King, you're the youngest now. Red Tower 99F boss, Battle Maniac Balrog, yes sir. Having been thoroughly beaten in the virtual duel, Balrog obediently accepted his position as the youngest. By the time the manager hierarchy had been settled, the deputy manager rankings had also been finalized. Red Tower 87F Loser, loyal full-time employee, Red Fox Bayon. It's an honor to see Pink Fur Nim and Elka Nim again here. Greetings, deputy managers. I'm Bayon, the youngest deputy manager at your service. Bayon knew his place and immediately showed respect. Since he had encountered the deputy managers Pink Fur and Elka before on the 99th floor of the Black Tower, he wisely chose not to challenge them. As the hierarchy within the full-time employee network was being established, Red Tower 43F Red Monkey, Mongu, greetings. I'm Red Monkey Mongu. Red Tower 33F Red Skunk number 23, greetings. I'm Red Skunk Puoff, sorry for farting. I'm Red Skunk number 23. Messages from the new recruits, who had just received some physical education from their Red Fox seniors, started coming in. And then Black Tower 63F Boss Stone Lizardman Hida. So that means I don't have to do the morning greetings anymore, right? Hida thought he had escaped from being the youngest sooner than expected, but Black Tower 59F Green Goblin Paku, what kind of lizardman tail-chopping nonsense is that? Of course, you still have to do it. Black Tower 63F Boss Stone Lizardman Hida, yes. Paku wasn't one to let things slide so easily. Aileen, share this with Ace and eat together. After preparing lunch, Sejun sent the food to Aileen. Blackie eat a lot. Kilahit kaying. Hee okay. Chomp chomp chomp. Sejun had lunch with Blackie while watching Sejun number 3's swordsmanship training. Sure enough, without Master Bo, there was no progress. Sejun missed Bachai's swordsmanship lesson. A little later, after finishing their lunch, Sejun and the Blackie family got ready to return to work. They moved to the dimensional gate connected to Earthworm. Sejun Nim, I feel like something good is going to happen today. Haha, you think so? Flamey and Blackie wait here for a bit. Sejun set Flamey and the Blackie family down on the ground and stepped through the gate first, just in case there were any tears of destruction. What if the tears of destruction turned into members of the Blackie family? That'd be a disaster. Where would he even use all those sunfish? Haha. As Sejun entered Earthworm while laughing foolishly to himself like that. Right in front of him, the tears of destruction wobbled and started transforming into his own image. Flamey had found a new route without the energy of creation. That was why Flamey had hinted at good news earlier. Whoosh whoosh. Meanwhile, 7 Destruction Sejuns rushed at Sejun with clumsy punches, but, hey guys, nice to meet you, here, take this. Sejun effortlessly dodged their punches and placed Destruction Devourer seeds into their hands. Plop plop. Without a word, the Destruction Sejuns began planting the seeds. And then, time to go home. Thanks to the 7 Destruction Sejuns helping out, Sejun was able to leave work earlier than Theo and Kyungi and return to the Black Tower. Should I have Bimyun for dinner tonight? It's been a while. While waiting for the others to arrive, Sejun boiled some egg fruits for the Bimyun and julienne cucumbers and other vegetables. Just then, Kyung. Dad, Kyungi is here. Dad, take this. Kyungi entered the kitchen and handed Sejun 3 medicinal herbs. Deep blue kudzu root of potential. 3-month-old magical turmeric. 3-month-old magical peppermint of potential. Oh Kyungi, thanks, I'll eat well. Sejun immediately ate the medicinal roots Kyungi gave him. Crunch crunch. Since Kyungi had washed them thoroughly, there was no unpleasant crunch of dirt. You have consumed deep blue kudzu root of potential. All stat potential has increased by 100. As Sejun was eating the herbs. Sniff sniff. Kyung. Dad, are we having Bimyun for dinner? Kyungi sniffed the air and correctly guessed the dinner menu. Yeah. How did he know? The fearsome deductive ability of food detective Cunnan, who guessed the dinner menu just by smelling the ingredients for the noodles before the noodle package was even opened. Letter 10342, A-ring new letter 1ED1 letter 1D51F esh. Wash your hands and wait. We'll eat together when Vice Chairman Theo arrives. Kyung. Got it. At Sejun's words, Kyungi went to the sink, washed his hands and set the table with utensils, helping Sejun with dinner preparations. Aileen, you're eating too, right? The tower's administrator says, of course. The tower's administrator says, last time, 1 box of bibimun wasn't enough, so make 1.5 boxes this time. Okay, got it. Heh, so even Aileen finds just 1 pack of bibimun unsatisfying, huh? Feeling a sense of camaraderie with Aileen, Sejun began opening the noodle packets with Kyungi and placing them into a giant pot. Just then, as Sejun's vision darkened, "You're back." Meow. He removed Theo's hands from his face. "Pew Hut, Chairman Park, I'm off work." "Yeah, good job. Wash up quickly so we can eat." Pew Hut, got it, meow. At Sejun's words, Theo hastily licked his front paws, getting ready to eat grilled fish. "Shari, make some ice." Ppiak. With Shari's help, Sejun made ice water and placed the boiled noodles in it to make them extra chewy. And then, mix with one hand, and mix with the other hand too. Sejun added the bibimun sauce and hummed a cheerful tune while mixing the noodles and sauce together. Once everything was well mixed, he generously topped the bibimun with eggs, julienne cucumbers, and pear slices. Aileen here. After sending the bibimun to Aileen, Sejun also started eating happily with Kyungi. Pew Hut. As expected, the grilled fish made by the great hybrid Chairman Park is the best, meow. Kilahit Kaying. Hee, roasted and dried sweet potato is the best. Theo and the Blackie family also enjoyed the food Sejun had given them. After their enjoyable dinner, Pew Hut, Chairman Park, come quickly and see the achievements of Vice Chairman Theo, meow. I made a huge profit today, meow. Sitting on Sejun's lap, Theo wore a smug expression as he began pulling out his loot from his bag, one by one. Haha, let's see. Since Sejun knew through messages that Theo had scored big, he also watched Theo's bag with great anticipation. Pew Hut, here it is, meow. Theo pulled out everything he had obtained from the 27th floor of the Red Tower. The majority were money pouches, followed by various pieces of equipment. None of the equipment was particularly outstanding. Should I send these to Earth? Sejun pondered while thinking about his family back home. By his standards, the equipment wasn't anything special, but on Earth, each piece would easily sell for at least several billion won. Selling them could cover his family's living expenses, and the rest could go into his own account. Hell, I'm rich. Sejun grinned foolishly as he imagined the massive sum about to be deposited into his bank account. Though he already possessed more wealth than Earth's entire economy, seeing the numbers rise in his Earth account had a different kind of satisfaction. Before entering the tower, his bank balance had been almost non-existent. Chairman Park, snap out of it, meow. Look at me, meow. Theo called out, as his loot showcase wasn't over yet. Okay. As Sejun turned his attention back to Theo. Pew Hut, next is this, meow. Theo took out 3 jewels from his bag: Fire's Jewel, Water's Jewel, Wind's Jewel. The descriptions were similar to the Earth's jewel they had obtained before. In other words, if each attribute's power was absorbed, the sealed god's soul would be unsealed. Huh. A great idea suddenly struck Sejun. Most of these sealed gods had been trapped after being defeated by the apostles of destruction. Those who tied it should untie it. It seemed only fitting that the Blackie family should be the ones to undo the seals. Guys, you'll be the ones to break these seals. Sejun handed the jewels to the Blackie family. The Fire's Jewel went to Mubelchill, the Water's Jewel was given to Shari, Muckpupil, and Leviathan, and Ko. I'll take care of this one. The Wind's Jewel was claimed by Karurur. Once the jewel distribution was complete. Pew Hut, Chairman Park, next is this, meow. Theo pulled out another item from his bag. This time it was 4 land deeds. One for the 28th floor, 60th floor, and 75th floor of the Red Tower, and one for the 77th floor of the Blue Tower. Oh, Vice Chairman Theo, well done. Seeing the Blue Tower land deed, Sejun praised Theo. Lately, he hadn't been able to find a Blue Tower land deed, which had been delaying his exploration of the Creator God's tablet. Pew Hut, Great Hybrid Chairman Parkeye, Vice Chairman Theo, I'm always amazing at everything, meow. Theo immediately puffed up with pride at Sejun's compliment, speaking in an arrogant tone. Yes, our Vice Chairman Theo is truly outstanding. Sejun lifted Theo up by the sides and praised him. Kyung, Kaying, Kyungi and Blackie, eager for their turn, raised their front paws expectantly, waiting to be lifted as well. Why you guys too? All right. Grumbling, Sejun hoisted Kyungi and Blackie up over his head. And then, now let's go. Swoosh. He disappeared from Black Tower's 99th floor, using the Blue Tower 77th floor land deed. And the moonlight and starlight of the Black Tower densely filled the space where Sejun had disappeared. Chapter 609, Ahia, this is it. Combat Shop Headquarters. So, when Minotaur King and Balrog were fighting, and as soon as it started, the Minotaur King blew up Balrog's head. Good thing it was a simulated battle, otherwise Balrog would have been dead for real. Exactly. I had no idea Battlernim had such an amazing power. I see him in a new light now. Haha, that's nothing special. Battler, the god of battle, and Hunt, the god of hunting. We're talking about what had happened on the Sejun Company full-time employee communication network. Balrog is quite the fearless one. I, as the god of courage, should have witnessed such a scene. I'd like to see it too, in front of Bev, the god of courage, and Thunder, the god of storm. If you're that curious, just get stamped by Theo. Battler subtly tempted Bev. Nah, no matter what, I'm still a god. Bev didn't give in so easily. However, well, becoming a full-time employee isn't necessarily a bad thing. Maybe I could even get closer to Sejun. Internally, Bev was struggling with the decision. The reason, the divine relics that Battler and Hunt had received from Santa Sejun. Although it had been forced upon them, Battler and Hunt, who had cooperated with Theo, received a spear that folded space to stab enemies and a bow that could chase foes beyond dimensions as Christmas gifts. The combat gods at the combat shop headquarters were extremely envious. Of course, Bev and Thunder were among those envious gods. In contrast, Bev had received the right to converse with Sejun, while Thunder had received the right to talk with Kyungi as their Christmas presents. It was just a one-time use coupon that lifted the chat restriction once, but was useless if they got blocked again. I want a divine relic, but I don't want to get stamped. This is tough. As Bev continued to agonize. I'll do it, I'll let Theo stamp me. Thunder was the first to step forward and declare he would become a full-time employee of Sejun Company. I'll join Sejun Company too. Bev blurted it out without thinking. Heh, good choice, right, Hunt? Heh, absolutely. Both of you made the right decision. Battler and Hunt grinned widely at the two. Bev, you're under me now. Thunder, you're my subordinate now. At Sejun Company, if the power levels were similar, seniority was determined by order of employment. Battler, you're not going to bully us with seniority and make us do weird things, right? Of course not. Our Sejun Company doesn't do that at all, right, Hunt? Of course, we absolutely don't do that. Since they hadn't been stamped yet, they made sure not to show their true intentions. You have arrived at the 77th floor of the Blue Tower. Why do I smell something salty? A strong scent of salt filled his nose. At the same time, he saw the moon hanging in the night sky, its reflection rippling on the water. Splash! Swish! The sound of gentle waves could be heard. As Sejun slowly looked around. Oh! He found himself on one of the many islands of a coastline. He could see waves crashing against the shore before retreating slowly. The entire 77th floor of the tower was in sea. Lucky me. Had he teleported to a slightly different spot, he would have fallen into the water. Not that it mattered, since he could dry his clothes quickly. At that moment, clang! Chairman Park, I missed you, meow. The void storage door swung open, and Theo launched himself at Sejun's face. Kyung, Kaying. Following right behind Theo, Kyungi and the Blackie family also leaped at Sejun, clinging onto him. Let's just sleep for today and move tomorrow. Hut got it, meow. Kyung, Kaying. Happy to hear Sejun say it was time to sleep, the group eagerly agreed. Land moving. Using Myler's hoe, Sejun built a house. Crop gigantification. He enlarged an elixir king oyster mushroom. As Hwick, turning it into a mushroom mattress, placing it in the bedroom, and pulling out a blanket. I've prepared Peacebee's meal too, now let's sleep. After setting out some fruit for Peacebee's next to the mattress, Sejun hugged his companions and threw himself onto the center of the mushroom mattress. Letter 1E5B, new letter 1D428, Cyrillicia, a Sedula. At first, the mattress sank deeply under Sejun's weight, but gradually regained its cushiony feel. Kiararar. Gorarang. Kirarang. Meanwhile, Sejun and his companions had fallen asleep. And then, pip pip, good night everyone. Peacebees woke up and began his activities. Chomp chomp chomp. After eating the fruit Sejun had prepared. Flap flap. He patrolled the surroundings while also taking a little sightseeing tour, but most of the islands were rocky, leaving little to see. After finishing his rounds and returning. Swoosh. Shwaya. As the sound of waves echoed and the moonlight shimmered on the water, Peacebee sat by the window, looking down at his companions sleeping on the mattress. An inspiration struck and, alone on this silent night while everyone sleeps, Peacebees hummed a song he made up on the spot, turning it into a lullaby that brought pleasant dreams to all his companions. If I lay my head on your lap. Hut. Especially Theo, seeming to like Peacebees' song, fell into a deeper sleep while preciously holding Sejun's knee with his front paws. And so, the deep night on the 77th floor of the Blue Tower grew even deeper. The next morning. All right. Sejun stretched his arms and got up energetically. And, meow, kyung, keikaing. He gathered up the sleepyheads and stepped outside, taking a walk around the island to fully wake up. Nothing really special here. The island was peaceful. Maybe the sea is full of fish that Vice Chairman Theo would love. Sejun focused his eyes and gazed into the blue sea, but he couldn't spot any swimming fish. I'll check after we eat. Deciding to fill his stomach before entering the water. Snap! He flicked his fingers, creating a fire and started cooking. At that moment, Hut, Chairman Park, are you grilling my fish too, meow? Of course, Vice Chairman Theo gets an extra-large grilled fish. Hut, very nice, meow. Kyung. Dad, what are we eating? Haha, today's breakfast is donjang jiggy with an sea view. Kyung. Sounds great. Kyungi will mix rice into the donjang jiggy and eat it. Kaying. Butler, what about the great Blackie's roasted sweet potato? Of course, I've got them right here. If you behave until mealtime, I'll give you two. Kilahit Kaying. Hee, okay, the great Blackie will behave. Theo, Kyungi, and the Blackie family, now awake, spoke to Sejun while checking if their meals were being prepared properly. After a short while, once breakfast was finished. Ah, nice. Sejun lay on a stone bed, sipping an iced coffee Kyungi had handed him, letting his food digest. Now let's see what's in the sea. It was time to fully enjoy the water. Sploosh! As Sejun dove into the sea with his companions clinging to him, air bubbles automatically formed around their heads. These were air bubble helmets created by Theo's water attribute talent. Thanks to them, Sejun could explore the sea without worrying about suffocating. Sejun swam around the sea for quite some time. What's this? Why is there nothing? No matter how much he searched, all he found were rocks and water, nothing else. No other living creatures were present except for Sejun himself. I need to encounter something for a land deed quest to appear. Is this place some kind of salt farm? Just as Sejun was about to leave the sea and explore other islands, he noticed a massive black shape drifting lazily with the sea currents. At that moment, swish, the black mass spread thinly, dispersing around like delicate strands. What is this? When Sejun touched it, a quest has been generated. Quest: the sea creatures are in distress due to a mutated seaweed corrupted by the energy of destruction, which has turned it carnivorous. Eliminate the mutated seaweed. Reward: recognition as the rightful owner of the seaweed farm on the 77th floor of the Blue Tower. Restoration of the marine ecosystem. Finally, a land deed quest had appeared. This was seaweed. Reading the quest, Sejun got excited. His New Year's goal of acquiring seaweed had been fulfilled much earlier than expected. And the mutated seaweed was just as excited. The seaweed wrapped tightly around Sejun's body, attempting to bite off his flesh. Useless. Sejun's body was protected by power, strong body, rendering the attack ineffective. But how should I deal with this? Taking care of them one by one would be too much effort. Sejun thought for a moment. If it's a marine plant, wouldn't it die if I take it to land? With that in mind, he swam toward the shore, dragging the seaweed entangled around him. You have eliminated the mutant carnivorous seaweed. You have gained 10 experience points. As soon as they reached land, the seaweed instantly withered and died. That was too easy. Sejun, who had considered burning them with fire, felt slightly let down by how simple it was. Now that he had figured out the method to eliminate them. Go muck pupil. Peepoo peepoo. Yes, ink 8 shadow clones. Sejun had muck pupil lure the seaweed, and as they gathered, his companions scooped them up with nets and disposed of them. After about 5 hours of harvesting, you have eliminated all mutant seaweed. Quest has been completed. As a reward for completing the quest, the marine ecosystem is beginning to recover. As a reward for completing the quest, you have been recognized as the rightful owner of the seaweed farm on the 77th floor of the Blue Tower. The quest was complete. During this time, Sejun washed the dead seaweed in the water, spread it thinly on flat rocks, and let it dry under the sunlight. While Sejun was focused on making dried seaweed, Hud. Theo was clinging to Sejun's lap, happily enjoying his time. Kyungi caught one. Kaying. Brother, the great Blackie caught one too. With the seaweed gone, Kyungi and the Blackie family played by catching clams that had been hiding in the sandy seabed. At that moment, Rule. The alarm of Kyungi's stomach rang, signaling lunchtime. It's already lunchtime. Hearing Kyungi's belly alarm, Sejun headed to the cooking area. Kyung. Dad, Kyungi caught this with Blackie. Kyungi wants to eat this too. Kyungi brought over the clams they had caught to Sejun. Oh, these are manila clams. The moment he saw them, Sejun decided on the lunch menu. A refreshing bowl of manila clam kalguksu, enjoyed with the sea's ambience. And seafood scallion pancakes with a glass of samyeonju. Perfect. Sejun quickly cleaned the clams, kneaded the dough for the kalguksu noodles, prepared the broth, made fresh kimchi salad, and mixed the seafood pancake batter with squid and other ingredients before frying it. A little while later, guys, let's eat lunch. Sejun called his companions to the meal. All right, cheers. Sejun raised a glass filled with samyeonju. Hut, cheers, meow. Theo lifted a glass filled with churu. Kyung. Hada, cheers. Kyungi held up a glass of honey water. Kilahit Kaying. He, cheers. Blackie clinked his glass of roasted sweet potato milk against Sejun. And then, gulp. Sejun drank the samyeonju and took a spoonful of the kalguksu broth. The refreshing and slightly spicy broth slid down his throat, clearing his stomach. Slurp. He followed it up with a mouthful of noodles and a bite of seafood pancake. The scent of scallions and the chewy texture of squid filled his mouth. Gulp. Time for another shot of Semyonju. Ah, this is it. Maybe because he was eating by the sea, he felt great and didn't seem to get drunk easily. Gulp. Getting carried away by the mood, Sejun downed 5 consecutive shots of the strong Samyeonju. Krararun. Eventually, he drank beyond his limit and passed out. Puhuhut. Kuhihet. Kivihit. His companions found spots on his body and also dozed off for an afternoon nap. While Sejun and his group slept, the scorching sunlight and sea breeze dried the seaweed perfectly. And then, Vice Chairman Theo, I brought the new full-time employees. Battler arrived in Theo's mental world, bringing Bev and Thunder with him. Chapter 610. He. No matter how great the Creator God is, he can't deceive the great detective Sherlock Sejun. Theo's mental world. Thud. Puhuhut, Battlernim, it's been a while, meow. What brings you here, meow? As Theo appeared, clinging to the knee of the ultra-giant Chairman Park No. 2. Ha, Vice Chairman Theo, these two said they wanted to join Sejun Company, so I brought them. Battler laughed heartily and pointed at Bev and Thunder. I am Bev, the god of courage, who supports the courageous. I am Thunder, the god of storm, who calls upon wind and lightning. The two introduced themselves to Theo. Puhuhut. I am the great hybrid Chairman Park's right-hand man, the deadly dragon-clawed hybrid golden cat, and the lucky legendary merchant Park Theo meow. Not wanting to lose, Theo introduced himself in an equally grand manner. Once the introductions were over, Puhuhut, Bevnim, Thundernim, put your thumbprints here, meow. Theo handed them a contract that already had the paw prints of himself and Blackie. Since he never knew when a day like this would come, Theo had prepared thousands of contract copies in advance by giving Blackie a single roasted and dried sweet potato. Stamp. As the two pressed their thumbprints onto the contract. Puhuhut, Bevnim and Thundernim, welcome to Sejun Company, meow. Theo warmly welcomed them. And then, you just stamped the contract right. Bev, from now on speak to me respectfully, got it? Battler immediately established dominance over Bev. What? Where? That rule. Didn't you say Sejun Company doesn't allow seniority-based bullying just because someone joined earlier? Are you trying to rebel against me right now? Vice Chairman Theo, Bev is attempting insubordination here. Wait, when did I ever? As Bev tried to argue, Battler tattled to Theo right away. However, Puhuhut, it's fine, meow. I said it's insubordination. Contrary to Battler's expectations, Theo wasn't angry. Because from now on, Bevnim will be in charge of managing all full-time battle gods, meow. Bev hadn't committed insubordination at all. Yes. Bev and Battler had opposite reactions to Theo's decision. For Theo, it was an obvious choice. Butler was a major criminal who had wronged Sejun many times. On the other hand, although Bev had been a nuisance to Sejun, he had also given him many things and had even willingly joined the company. From Theo's perspective, it was only natural to favor Bev over Battler. Well then, Godsnam, time to leave, meow. I, Vice Chairman Theo, need to sleep early so I can play with Chairman Park, meow. And with that, Theo kicked the gods out of his mental world, and the battle gods returned to the combat shop headquarters. Then, Battler. Yeah. Lie down. Yeah. Without a word of protest, Battler accepted his punishment from Bev. Sejun's mental world. Where is this? After drinking Samyeonju and losing consciousness, Sejun found himself regaining awareness in his mental world. At that moment, Sejun, what did you eat for your soul to become so enriched? The Creator God descended before Sejun in a dazzling light. You're that person from last time, right? Sejun asked while looking at the Creator God. Just as the Creator God had said, perhaps because Sejun's soul was particularly full today, the Creator God's form appeared clearer than before. Since their appearance changed every time he saw them, he needed to confirm whether it was the same entity. Yes, it was ITL, Dio. The Creator God responded in a benevolent voice and then asked, "You received the gift sent by the Creator God," pretending as if it wasn't from them. However, gift, the Creator God sent me a gift. This was news to Sejun. Yes, on Christmas, the Creator God twisted the storm of causality to create Santa Sejun. No way Santa Sejun was made by my Theo. What are you talking about? That was created by the Creator God. No, it was my Theo. Thus began a debate over who had created Santa Sejun. That damned cat, how dare he steal the Creator God's achievement? The Creator God's fury turned toward Theo. No, I'm telling you our Theo made Santa Sejun, and if you mess with my Theo, I won't stand by and do nothing. Sejun issued a firm warning to the Creator God, who was fuming at Theo. No, it's not that I intend to do anything to Theo. The Creator God took a deep breath, calming down. What am I even doing? At the same time, a wave of self-awareness hit. It seemed like continuing this conversation with Sejun would only lead to frustration. Actually, the reason I came is to inform you of something. So they got to the main point. Something to tell me. Yes. What is it? Search the sea floor carefully. There, you will find the Creator God's tablet. The Creator God's tablet is at the bottom of the sea, but I already checked the sea earlier. Is definitely there, and here this is a gift. With a slightly curt voice, the Creator God sent a glowing blue energy orb to Sejun. And then, SRRRK. The light was absorbed into Sejun's body. The power of creation is being converted into the most suitable ability for Black Tower's Tower Farmer Park Sejun's survival. All stats have increased by 1,000. Mental strength potential has increased by 10,000. A series of messages appeared. Thank you, but who exactly are you? Sejun expressed his gratitude but then questioned the Creator God, who gave him a gift every time they met. No matter how he looked at it, they were no ordinary existence. Omelette and Cyrillica letter 16 data, agruv letter 167. I cannot tell you yet. The Creator God shook their head, refusing to reveal their identity. Then, do you know about the first apostle of the Creator God, Emilanim? I do, but why are you looking for Emila? Well, actually, I have a few drops of incomplete Creator God's tears. Sejun explained that he wanted to ask Emila to refine the incomplete Creator God's tears into a great growth elixir. You purified them as well. Understood. I will tell Emila to issue you a quest. Yes, thank you, but can I ask one more thing? Go ahead. Hearing that Sejun had purified the tears of destruction, the Creator God's voice became benevolent once again. Have you heard anything about the Creator God who ran away? I did not run away. No, why are you getting so worked up? I wasn't talking about you, but about another Creator God. Get out. The Creator God hurriedly expelled Sejun from unconsciousness back to reality. 77th floor of the Blue Tower. As Sejun opened his eyes. Squish, squish, squish. He saw Theo diligently stepping on his face. Vice Chairman Theo, when did you wake up? Pew hut, I woke up just a little while ago, meow. Really? Hey, Vice Chairman Theo, listen. Sejun recounted what he had heard from the Creator God and asked if Theo felt any pull toward the sea. Meow. Theo stretched out his front paw toward the sea, trying to sense something. However, there's nothing, meow. I'm sorry I couldn't be of help to Chairman Park, meow. Not sensing anything, Theo's ears drooped, and he became despondent. It's fine. Let's go back into the sea and search again. If we can't find anything, we'll just leave. Honestly, I don't fully trust that information. Every time the topic of the runaway Creator God comes up, they act strangely angry. At that moment, something clicked in Sejun's mind like a puzzle coming together. Wait, could it be? That guy was the Creator God. Sejun suddenly realized that the entity who had appeared in his mental world was actually the creator god. No matter how great the creator god is, he can't deceive the great detective Sherlock Sejun. Feeling proud of his own deduction, Sejun smirked. Of course, it wasn't that Sejun's reasoning skills had suddenly skyrocketed. It was simply that the creator god had been dropping way too many hints, making it obvious even to someone as clueless as Sejun. Getting mad as if it was a personal insult when Sejun denied receiving a gift from the creator god, revealing the location of the creator god's tablet, being close to the apostle of the creator god. And most tellingly, every time Sejun asked about the runaway creator god, they got unreasonably defensive, as if they were the one who had run away. The creator god had been dropping so many hints that it was almost as if they weren't even trying to hide it. As Sejun was feeling proud after figuring out the creator god's identity. Squish, squish. Theo resumed stepping on Sejun's face and spoke in a bright voice. Chairman Park, 2 new full-time employees have joined Sejun Company Meow. Feeling good after making Sejun's face a little less ugly, Theo sounded quite cheerful. 2, where are they? Thinking that Theo had encountered some robbers or pirates while he was sleeping, Sejun looked around warily. Pew Hugh Hut, they're gods so they're not here meow. Seeing Sejun's reaction, Theo also felt proud. Gods. Pew Hugh Hut, that's right meow. Bevnim and Thundernim came to my mental world and said they wanted to join Sejun Company meow. So I had them stamp the contract and welcomed them as full-time employees meow. A completely different recruitment process from anything Sejun had seen before. For real, Bevnim and Thundernim personally came to your mental world and voluntarily stamped the contract. They weren't captured. Sejun asked in disbelief. Pew Hugh Hut, that's right meow. Theo nodded vigorously. Our company is at that level, a company where gods come to apply for jobs. A company that gods voluntarily joined. It suddenly felt like Sejun Company's prestige had skyrocketed. And I am the chairman of such a company. Sejun's chest swelled with pride. Pew Hugh Hut, and I'm the vice chairman of Sejun Company meow. Yeah, our vice chairman Theo did something incredible. Sejun vigorously patted Theo's head. I should build a monument to commemorate their recruitment. Sejun decided to commemorate the 2 gods who had previously been a nuisance to him and Kyungi by building employment achievement monuments for them upon their recruitment. And then, Vice Chairman Theo, let's put out a full-time employee recruitment notice through Helnim. Pew Hugh Hut, got it meow, but what should it say meow? We'll say that anyone who joins Sejun Company as a full-time employee will get an employment achievement monument built in their honor. He planned to use the employment achievement monument as bait to lure more gods into joining Sejun Company. Pew Hugh Hut, understood meow. Helnim, post a recruitment notice meow. Theo immediately relayed Sejun's words to Hel. Hel, the god of merchants, is asking if she can also join Sejun Company. Hel had instantly applied for the position. Since things couldn't get any worse for her, she decided to go all in on the Sejun coin and bet everything on Sejun's company. Pew Hugh Hut, of course meow. Helnim, come find me later when I'm about to sleep meow. Hel, the god of merchants, says she will visit later to officially apply. After finishing his conversation with Hel. Pew Hugh Hut, as expected, Chairman Park is a genius meow. Helnim has applied to join meow. Theo praised Sejun. Haha, this is nothing. Sejun grinned widely, trying to act humble. Pew Hugh Hut. Theo chuckled along with him. Thus, Sejun officially announced a recruitment notice, offering employment achievement monuments to gods who became full-time employees. At that moment, Grrrrrrrgly. The sound of Kyungi's stomach rumbled as he slept soundly. Pew Hugh Hut, Chairman Park, it's time for dinner meow. Even while sleeping, Kyungi's internal food alarm remained perfectly accurate. Guys, let's eat. Sejun woke up his companions and then. Has it dried completely? He checked the seaweed he had left to dry on the rocks. Crisp. Applying a little pressure, the seaweed made a satisfying crunching sound. Nice, it's dried perfectly. Sejun lightly brushed a thin layer of sesame oil over the crisp seaweed and sprinkled some salt on top. Then, whoosh, carefully roasting the seaweed at a safe distance from the fire to prevent burning. As the heat touched the oil, the combined aroma of roasted seaweed, sesame oil, and salt filled the air. Kyung kyung. What's that smell? It must be delicious. Has it here, ah. Excited by the smell, Kyungi opened his mouth, and Sejun placed a small piece of roasted seaweed inside. Crisp. Kyung. After tasting the seaweed, Kyungi hurriedly brought over his rice bowl. Just like a true food detective, Kyungi immediately realized that seaweed was the perfect side dish for rice. Vice Chairman Theo Blackie, do you guys want to try some? No way, meow. I, Vice Chairman Theo, am waiting for the grilled fish Chairman Park will cook for me, meow. Kaying. No, give me the roasted and dried sweet potato you made, Butler. As expected, Theo and Blackie rejected the offer. Kyungi, instead of eating the rice and seaweed separately, try wrapping the rice with the seaweed like this. Kyung. Dad, you're a genius. This tastes even better. Sejun taught Kyungi a tastier way to eat seaweed and rice, and they enjoyed their meal together. Ku, Gororong, Kirorong, Kirorong. And then they all fell asleep again. Meanwhile, what? If you become a full-time employee at Sejun Company, which is run by Trustin Park, you get an achievement monument. Not only that, Hell said the Employment Achievement Monument is on a completely different level compared to all previous achievement monuments. The news of Sejun hiring full-time employees shook the entire seed shop headquarters.